give him a kicking.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, sorry.
That's the way
We're
I feel
live.
about it too.
I'm
That's all right.
promoting
Nobody
violence.
knows. Nobody knows who we're talking about. Come on in, everybody. We see you out there. It's time for Comics by Night. I was up early, so we can do this. Let's do this. So it's been a comedy of errors this morning for me. The wife didn't have her badge in order to get into work. She left her water in the car, and I got to McDonald's, and they didn't have any biscuits. What breakfast place doesn't have biscuits?
Oh,
You know, and I'm talking the white flour biscuit kind, not the cookies that you guys call biscuits.
that's proper biscuits.
Yeah, real biscuits. Yeah.
Now,
Proper biscuits over here. It's the white
biscuits,
flour
you-
stuff. You
Is
always
a,
have.
is a,
Flipping
sc-
tea.
is a
That's
scone
biscuit.
supposed to be soft or hard?
It's hard on the outside, soft on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big debate.
Now we know.
No, there's no
Okay.
debate. There's no
No.
debate.
Oh, there's no debate. It's just what it is.
We're right. That's
I
it.
tell you what I find remarkable is the way that Americans think that they're right, and we've been here 2,000 years before their country started, and they think they're right, and they're all from here, and
All
they
depends
still
on
think
which
they're right.
Americans. Anyway,
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking
Yeah.
about Americans.
my wife's family came up from Mexico. They can trace their lineage back like you wouldn't believe. So
Well,
all the way back to probably human sacrifices.
I'm currently back in the Netherlands in 1066.
Right?
So, I think I'm English by now.
I am French. Why do you think I have this outrageous accent?
My lot came through France, Belgium, and Netherlands.
I put raspberries in your general direction.
Mine did
You
too, just to
bloody
say
English
hello.
pig.
So
Yeah.
I was always told I was a mutt. Don't try to figure out where you came from because you came from everywhere.
I just said that to be funny. I'm 100% Sicilian.
Yeah, except that you're American.
And that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
you have the silly accent.
Yeah.
But we'll forget that.
There you go. It's Comics by Night, folks. Come on in. We're running the chats up. Let's go.
We're
Sorry, Russ. Didn't
I say we're welcoming the whole world in, but you cut me off, so screw it. What the hell?
Come on in, world. Here we go.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time, with theory.
There we are, everybody. Come on in.
Once again, with Fee-wing.
This is not a charade.
Yeah.
Not a charade.
This is not a charade. Welcome to Comics by Night, where we try to talk about the nuts and bolts about comics, and we end up talking about everything else. So,
Mostly about nuts.
mostly about nuts. We're TVMA DLSV, so just in case you need to have that, and we're not necessarily here for kids, but
Send them out of the room.
we're at that point now where everybody's a kid. Yeah.
Send them to play in the road.
Send them off to the army. Come on.
Yeah, that'll sort them out.
I'll sort them out.
Do what you have to do.
And lock up your daughters.
They'll turn them into men.
We can say that now because Space Daddy Elon's in charge.
Congratulations, Elon. You got to play Donald Trump this morning.
Oh,
Walk
dear.
around to everybody in the office. You're fired. You're fired. You're
You're
fired.
fired.
You're
What's he
fired.
doing with Twitter? Is he out of that one?
He
No,
finally
he's
bought it.
in.
No,
He
he
bought
didn't.
it.
He-
And he,
he-
fi- he fired. He
Yeah.
fired 75% of the people.
He's the big dog. He he went through and got rid of all of the big main people, I guess, this morning. Just
Yeah,
don't even,
they've
don't
all,
even bother coming into work. Happy Friday. Click.
they've all got shares. I would imagine they're walking home to several
Yeah.
$1 million
Yeah.
in their
Oh, yeah.
bank account. So,
That's a golden parachute like you really want
ain't
to
it?
have. you
Ain't
know?
it just?
It's like being a football manager, Russ, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, being a football manager and being a politician are the only two jobs where if you get fired, you can still get another job. It seems
the
that
payoff.
references don't
and get a
count
huge
when you're a
payoff
politician.
on your way out the
or,
door.
you know.
Yeah.
One manager over the past 10 years has been sacked that many times. He's alleged to have picked up 25 million quid because they pay his contract up.
Yeah.
I want that job.
Yeah, I
ever
want that
see,
job where I get fired. Oh, you can put. Yeah, here's the rest of your money. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
You ever see Lenny with Dustin Hoffman, the movie about Lenny Bruce?
Yeah.
He's in the courtroom, and they're one of the witnesses is some academic who's going to talk about, I guess about obscenity, and they give his credentials. He was at this university, that university, this university, and Lenny mumbles under his breath, "Guy can't keep a job."
But politics is like the army, isn't it? You get bollocked by moving you up. Do you know what I mean? You don't lose. You just get promoted, don't you?
You're promoted sideways.
Right.
That's the way it works. Yeah.
That's the big company. They call it. The big companies are like that too. The big dogs.
Yeah.
They call it failing upwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people say failure is not an option. They say failure is not a problem.
Exactly.
Sorrow.
How dare you?
Exactly.
Oh, fuck
Is she 18 yet?
I don't think so.
I think she.
All right. Well, I got it marked on my calendar.
Do you?
She
The day she
apparently
pleaded.
was very embarrassed about the things that she said. So there you go.
You mean about nuclear?
Or about flying in a private jet.
I
She's
don't
complaining
know.
about the environment.
Yeah.
Clown world. That's the way the world is.
Pretty much.
Now she's got daddy issues.
I got your clown nose right here. I just never use it.
That's mint in the bag.
It is. Right over top of my devil ducky. Got a rubber
Right.
ducky that's red and looks like the devil.
Well,
And
one of my prized bizarre possessions is a bootleg set of Terms of Endearment puffy stickers.
Oops, sorry. I'll be off in a sec.
Now, why somebody thought that would be a good thing to market and bootleg,
Couldn't
I have
tell
no idea. And if I can find them, I'll put them up to share.
I got, speaking of my devil ducky, got a devil ducky here on the card. Devil ducky. I got that given to me by the great Bernie Wrightson, whose birthday was yesterday, even though he's no longer on this plane. So I saw it hanging in his bathroom. I says, I want one of those. He says, if I find one, I'll send it to you. And he did. So that was great. Come on in, everybody. It's Comics by Night. I'm your host, Randy Zimmerman. Go ahead, Charles.
A great artist and a nice guy, too.
Yeah. Just a great guy. Miss him. Haven't, the last time I saw him was at a Motor City Con a few years back, but from 2000 to 2003, I gophered for him at San Diego Con. That was an experience. Got to meet a lot of interesting people there. Got to sell a lot of great artwork too.
Sell.
Yeah. Well, he was doing a lot of movie production work at that point. So he had the people at Galaxy Quest who did the movie Galaxy Quest. He did the majority of the production, drawing, creative work for that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they had him design this rock monster. They asked him, they wanted to do a rock monster on this planet. So he drew all these different incarnations, and I'm telling you, there was at least 100 different versions of a rock monster that he drew and got paid for. He got paid by the drawing, and it was good. It was really good money. But they just kept asking him to draw it differently, draw it like this, draw it like this. So he had all these great pictures, everything that you can imagine. If you picture Bernie Wrightson drawing creature from Where Monsters Dwell or Where Creatures Roam, from those old.
Did he come up with Ben Grimm?
No, well, some of them were pretty close to that. And they ended up using a pile of rocks in the movie. One rock piled on top of another rock piled on another rock. But he told me, he said, if you ever watch Galaxy Quest, and if you remember Galaxy Quest, there's a series of little tiny aliens.
Yeah.
That are all cute and round. that come bouncing out, and then they open their mouth and they're full of sharp teeth, and they go and attack the Galaxy Quest crew. He said that is the closest thing he ever drew for movies that actually came through looking like the drawing that he sent.
Wow.
And he like hit it right off the bat. As soon as they saw it, they said, yes, that's it. Thank you very much. Move on to the next one. But there's some great drawings there that he sold. We were in like a little end cap at the show, had people all around us almost constantly. So I was working like gopher and bodyguard at the time, and salesman. So you want to see some great Bernie Wrights, and here you go.
You know, and I get confused with Bernie Wrights, and he's the guy who did the Frankenstein drawings, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he was, yeah.
Blew his hand up.
Did he do Swamp Thing as well?
Yes, he did.
Right.
Yep. Started doing a lot of horror illustrations, fanzines, and did Warren and Creepy for a little bit. Then got the DC gig. Then went. Did he do that with Alan Moore? That was Swamp Thing. No, that was Steve Bissett and John Toddleben.
Yeah,
the majority of that work. Yeah, just classic stuff. And Bissett too. I got a Bissett story where he went to his mailbox and got a check for tens of thousands of dollars, and he had to from DC, and he had to climb up the ladder to figure out where it came from and why before he cashed it, because he couldn't believe he got that much money. And they finally told him that Alan Moore has passed on all of his royalties, and he insists that the royalties that were supposed to go to Alan go to the creators or go to the artists.
Wow.
Because he didn't want a penny of it, because it was all blood money, and you know, he just detested it. So Bissett opens his mailbox and gets this huge, and we're talking multiple $0 check, and he climbs up, and come to find out it's for the Keanu Reeves Constantine movie.
Wow.
And that's how long ago this was. And he goes, I got paid this ungodly amount of money because Alan Moore told me to put Sting in a trench coat. There's your homage for you.
Yes.
You know, that's what Alan Moore asked for. That's what he got. And Bissett was registered as being the creator visually of that character. So, boom. So yeah, today we want to talk about homages and swipes.
Well, let's talk about bootlegs too. I'm going to send you. I can't, for some reason, I can't seem to share my my screen. So I'm going to send you these puffy stickers because you really got to see this.
Well, let's introduce ourselves first. I think I introduced myself. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm editor-in-chief of Arrow Comics right now. Got a lot more planned to come out in 2023. Real happy to be here. Love talking comics. Lived comics most of my life, and this is the art form for me. Also joining me today is Mr. Glenn Fleming. Glenn, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name's Glenn Fleming. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher. My latest work, should you wish to indulge, is my book about my trip to see Jack Kirby at his home. And with this book, you also get a DVD of me speaking with him there, so it's pretty unique. I've also created a character called Hatch. This book is currently available on Amazon, and issue 2 is coming out shortly. And I publish Comics Unlimited magazine, which is a 100-page full-color magazine about comics, quarterly magazine about comics. And if you go to Amazon, you'll see lots of my other books about science fiction and football and all lots of different genre, I think they call it.
Lots of things.
Lots of things, yeah.
Also joining us today is Russ Leach. Russ, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Russ Leach. I am a comic book artist from the UK. Currently on a run on Batman and just off a run from Doctor Who. Done some bits and pieces, Marvel, DC, Cartoon Network, all kinds of people. And I've got my own book, Only Death Can Save Us, which is now out for pre-order on Amazon worldwide. So there you go. It was a crowdfunder, and you can still get the original book if you go and get book 2, which are still on crowdfunding. But the first book has been re-edited, a little bit of extra popped in, and it's now available from New Haven worldwide. So you can go pick that up, and you want to find out more, we go to russleach.com.
Folks out there, the chat is open, so feel free to join in on the discussion. Just be nice. So also joining us today is Mr. Charles Santino. Charles, introduce yourself.
Good morning. I am a writer, editor, art director, and packager. That means I do everything except draw. And Rammer is my character. He's on my head. He's behind me. And here is the first issue. Second issue will be out shortly, available everywhere that fine comic books are not sold. It's not really available in stores yet, but it's on Amazon.
Okay.
We're working on distribution.
Everybody's working.
Everybody's on that.
We were just talking about stuff that you did for films, Bernie Wrightson, and I only did the one. So I've done some storyboarding, but the only thing I actually designed for a film was a creature called what is the name? Nazi Zombie Death Tales. There you go. That's DVD that came out, and I did a creature for it, and it actually was quite close to the creature I designed. So there you go. If you want to go see that, it's I think you can just put in Nazi Zombie Death Tales creature, and you'll find it in Google. There you go.
And you'll get flagged.
You'll get flagged, yeah.
And we probably already have been.
Yeah, surprisingly haven't, but there you go. So yeah,
it's early.
It is early indeed.
It is.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about swipes today, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're talking about swipes and homages. I think there's a definitive difference between the two. There's no doubt about that. And I actually have some homages that I've done officially for Batman. So there is a world of difference. So lots to discuss.
I did a set of storyboards for a film called Dreamstone, animated film from the 90s, but it was the second film, and they didn't shoot it. So these things, I got paid, but these things are just in my archive somewhere. Just
I did a bundle of storyboards a couple of years ago for a film that just hasn't been made yet.
Yeah.
And they keep saying, "Oh yeah, it's going to get made." So,
well, I don't think
they paid me. So
yeah, I don't think this one's going to be made because it's nearly 30 years since I did these storyboards.
Oh right, no, it's too late now. It's gone.
Probably about 25 years gone.
Let it go.
You never know.
Yeah, I'm big in the Philippines for a motion comic animated thing called Oceana.
Wow.
It was a graphic novel that I co-created for a Filipino publisher. And they just turned it into a animated motion comic that's on Netflix in the Philippines, not here or
not
there.
Here.
No. Bummer. Yeah. Okay, out comes the internet protocol and get my virtual connection out so that I can go see stuff in the Philippines.
Randy, I just sent you the Puffy stickers.
I know you did. There they are.
Oh,
now, this is absolutely brilliant. I saw this in a store, and I said I have to have this because this is just beyond belief.
Why would you do this?
Jack Nicholson puppy sticker. Why
of all the things to rip off for Puffy stickers.
Made in Taiwan.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
It's a prized possession that's worth nothing.
Well, it's ahead of its time because it's got a rainbow on it.
Absolutely. It's got a great sticker there of Shirley MacLaine holding her Oscar.
Yeah.
And Jack Nicholson holding both of his Oscars above his head triumphantly.
Yeah. So this is neither a swipe nor a homage. This is just counterfeit bootleg stuff.
This is just illegal.
And has nothing to do with comics.
Nothing at all. Well, except Nicholson, he was a joker.
Very true.
That's loose.
Clutch in there.
That's what it is. That's his Oscars he won for that brilliant performance.
Yep. Wasn't he an astronaut or something?
And Randy, I'm going to send you a couple other things since I can't seem to figure out this morning how to share my screen. These are things that we can use in our conversation about swiping and Homage.
There's a bar along the bottom, and one that has a monitor with a plus sign in it says present. Underneath.
Oh, yeah.
Used to say share screen, but that's
it used to say something that made sense.
Yes, it's messing with my head.
Whenever we mention Jack on the show, I always have to run this, though.
Where do they teach you to talk like this? In some Panama City sailor want a hump bar? Or is this getaway day and your last shot at his whiskey? Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
That's what I say whenever I open the door.
Never those Jehovah's Witnesses turn up.
Let's not go there. That's a misspent youth. Anyway. Did you figured out how to share?
Yes. Well, no, but
no.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Share screen. Okay. So let's start off with a. This is definitely not an homage. This is just a swipe. So let's see if I can share the appropriate screen. Here we go. Yeah, it's starting to look like it used to look. Mm-hmm. There we go.
They switch these buttons around way too often.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's a swipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
the first swiping. Sorry.
Yeah, the first one is Johnny Craig from Erie #6, black and white Warren magazine, and the other one's from a Doctor Strange story a year later by Dan Atkins, who was famous for swiping. Good artist, but famous for swiping.
Wouldn't it be great if you found out that Dan Atkins had drawn that before it was published, before the other one was published?
Yeah.
Well, no, I know it's not going to happen.
Somehow I don't think so. I mean, we talked about this one off screen a while back. Look at the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's like this is from two different publishers.
Yeah.
By two different artists.
A Warren black and white magazine, and a year later a Marvel comic,
which is completely swiping.
Oh yeah, totally,
completely. But if that was the same publisher, and you had two artists working for the same publisher, just on a page rate, would that then just be production?
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, they're not there to be. Especially back in this time, people weren't considering this as an art form per se. All right, in the way that we do now, it's got a lot. There's a lot more respect for the art form now than there was then.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just getting out there and doing their jobs. They were literally just turning up and just like they were, as far as they were concerned. Yeah, I mean, I was listening to an interview with Joe Kubert. Okay, and he was basically just saying, "Well, this is just it was just a job. You guys turned up, and the same with, even more so with John Buscema. It was just a job, and like looking at comic book artists was very much the lower end of the spectrum, and the higher end of the spectrum was actually working for a newspaper on a daily strip. That was considered sort of more respectable. So if you take that into account as the environment that these people were in, if you both worked for the same publisher and you nicked a piece of artwork from a page that was done for another book that was done by the same publisher, is that swiping or is that just production?
That's production, because you can't swipe it from the person that owns it if you're giving it to the person that owns it.
Exactly. Yeah. But nowadays, I mean, you see this a lot on the twit. Okay, people scream about, oh, that's swiping, or that's tracing and swiping and all the rest of it. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, for instance, I know there was a big one recently. About 6 months ago, there was some screaming going on about something that had been done on the front of a Marvel comic, I think it was. And it looked like it had been traced, but it had only been traced from another Marvel comic. And you think, well,
see, if I if I'd have stolen that, I think I'd have changed it a bit. I mean, if you just go back to it, Charles, it's even the smoke or whatever is coming off the dish is the same.
Mhm.
You'd change it, wouldn't you? You'd flop it or something, or give her a different haircut, wouldn't you?
In all fairness,
I know clothes are different, but you know,
in
Not
all
when you're
fairness,
in a hurry and you don't
not
care.
if you're in a hurry. Exactly. If you're in
Yeah.
a manic hurry and you've got to get a page out and you've got got to get it done today, and you see something, you think, I'm just going to trace that. Bang, off you go. You
I
know,
suppose so.
there is
Yeah.
this balance to be had with comic book artists, and I have been guilty of this in the past, looking at it as if it's some kind of sacred school, as it were. You've got to do things for yourself, and you must do this, and you must. No, you use the tools that are available. And what happens?
yeah.
What happens is that the quality of your work is what speaks. Okay, and it's not just the quality of the final drawing. Okay, it's the quality of the storytelling, which is why I personally talk about 3D models and 3D models of people. Doesn't work well for actual storytelling. It might end up producing a very convincing piece of art, but it won't help you tell a sequential art story. You have to have it all logged up here, and you have to have all the angles and everything not worked out, but generated from your head. If you can substitute bits and pieces in with tools, no problem. You shouldn't have any qualms about that.
Mhm.
Whether that's tracing a photograph, whether that's using a 3D model, but if it's not generated from your eye view, if you're literally just going to the resource as a way of telling your stories will suffer. Ergo, your art will suffer. Okay,
Yeah,
and that's the difference, I think.
I mean, even the same principle can apply to fumetti. You're taking photographs, but you've got to arrange them in such a way that they're going to tell you a story visually. Looking at these two pictures, two more things occur to me just now, which is I'll bet he swiped that little head in the corner, and his job was made a lot easier from the fact that he was swiping from a black and white comic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
So more than half the work was done for him because all he had to do was photocopy that, didn't have to worry about dealing with color.
Mm-hmm.
And the other picture I put up, I'll put it back up. This is an homage that I got criticized for. The picture on the right is the cover of Rammer #2, which is unpublished as of yet. And I really like this Magnus robot fighter. And so I just adopted the basic layout. But some people felt that it can't be an homage unless what you're homaging is very well known.
Rubbish.
And my feeling was, well, look, I'm being really upfront about this. I posted both on Facebook to show exactly what I was doing and why. And somebody has a problem with it, that's okay, but you can't copyright a layout.
But yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. First off, that's not the only time ever in the history of doing anything or movement that anyone's seen those three things at that angle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly,
It's like
yes.
angle. You can't copyright an angle. You can't even copyright a layout, really. So and secondly, it's like if your robot was identical to their robot and the costume on the people were the same, then maybe you could say maybe. But even then, it's only really a swipe if it kind of looks almost identical, just with certain aspects changed a bit. Yours does not look completely identical. All it is saying, look, I really love this cover, and I'd like it if we could do something in the same vein with the same kind of drama, but with our characters and in our situation. Mm-hmm. That is an homage every day of the week.
Costumes and designs, that is something, that's definitely something different. I once had a intellectual property attorney tell me something that always rattles in my brain. He said, you can trademark Superman's costume, but you can't trademark his personality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if I ripped off Magnus's costume, or the robot exactly, I probably could get away with ripping off the robot exactly, but the costume is his costume. That's his unique distinct and unique likeness. The girl is an incidental character. I probably could have gotten away with ripping off her costume, but Magnus's costume, that's a superhero's costume.
I don't know. I don't even know about that at this point, considering the character.
Yeah, they've gone through so many permutations. Yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and that's all I've got as far as visual aids, except for the stuff I sent you, Randy.
The general rule is 25%. You need to change the look or the piece 25% or more before you can really claim it.
You mean in terms of design?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy, I've just sent you a piece that I consider an homage that I did.
Oh yeah. But there's been a lot of people that have done that. Before I do that, though, Glenn, I want to point out a quote from the great Wally Wood.
Yeah.
Never draw anything you can copy.
Oh, yeah.
Never copy anything you can trace. Never trace anything you can cut out and paste up. Wally Wood.
Well, that's from a guy who's one of the greatest artists who ever lived. He probably never did any of that.
Oh, I bet he did a lot more than you realize. But
well, he might have done it. He might have done it from himself mostly.
Yeah. Like what Russ said, though, he was on a hardcore production.
Yeah. And
a hard deadline that he had to get to. So yeah, whatever he could use to trace or copy or do whatever from, he did. Mm-hmm. You know, in order to hit that deadline. That deadline was all important, especially back then, because these publishers carried heavy fines if they missed it from the printer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me swing over here and pick up that. I can't. There's been a ton of people that have copied this because it's such an
iconic piece, isn't it?
Such an iconic piece, yeah. There we are. But that's, Norman Rockwell. He's
Yeah,
how many people have done their version of that?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I'm not trying to claim anything on it.
It's probably one of the most noted American illustrators.
Yeah.
He might not be the greatest painter, but he was phenomenal in capturing life and illustration composition. Just even painting technique. He did this for so long, and again, he was accused of using a overhead projector quite often.
Yeah,
and using photographic reference.
Yeah, he used a lot of photographs, didn't he? Apparently, yeah.
But again, he was on production deadlines. He had to get stuff done.
Right.
Had to get it done, and that's what it took. So that's what he did.
Have you seen that painting he did of JFK?
Probably.
You must have seen it. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
I've got quite a few books of his work. Here, it's very fascinating to me. Somebody made I was watching the wife's soap opera. Yeah, it was the wife's soap opera, and they made a Norman Rockwell reference, and I was like, "Wow, is that writer old or what?"
So I've got
younger kids said it just like it was nothing.
I've got some homages here, which are official because I've been paid for them. Okay,
right.
They're to go on the front of comics. They're to go on the front of magazines. Now, it actually makes any claim that Charles's was in some kind of way a swipe completely ridiculous. Okay, there's no way that it's a swipe. It's an homage. Okay.
Now, were you asked to draw this particular composition?
I was asked to draw this composition. I was given the original and told to give our version of it, and that was by the publisher.
Sweet.
So there you go. I mean, that you can't get any more homage than that.
Well, the publisher,
and this is much closer. Because it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah. And your publisher has already paid DC for the license for this, so they have every right to do it.
Exactly. And it goes through DC as well. It's not like it's just complete. We've got the license and that's the end of it. DC and Universal are editing this every month.
Every step of the way, yeah.
There's the first one. Then there's obviously from issue 1.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Look at that.
Which we did.
Yeah,
and that, again, that the editor and writers were very excited about doing this kind of stuff. we've obviously done our own originals as well, and then this one, which is probably my favourite actually. And again, this is an homage of an older piece, but we put things, we rearranged things slightly.
See, those first two I recognize immediately. This one I don't. You know,
Yeah,
you could have told me that was an original piece, and I'd have that's great.
I didn't recognize it either, but he gave it to me and said, like, this is what we want. So there you go.
I'm going to put I'm going to put up another piece that's appropriate to the conversation.
Yeah.
There you are.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the one. That's it. Yeah.
How many times have I seen that as people, you know, redo that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
No. And this is not only an homage, but it's hysterically funny.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of seeing his face in the mirror and all the details around the top, the Port ZB, whatever that Zeppelin thing is, and it's just really, really funny, and it's also beautifully done, beautifully rendered.
Yeah, I mean,
is that El Jaffe?
No, it is. There is a signature in the lower right, but I can't really read it.
Can you blow it up?
Let's try. Hold on. Yeah, but it. Oh, wait a minute. R.A.
Is it Wilkins
Salvador.
or somebody?
Yeah, I think it's Wilson. Is that possible? Who is that? R.A. Wilson.
No idea.
Yeah.
Good on them, though. It's a nice piece.
Yeah.
It's great the way he's painting the back of his head while he looks at his face.
Exactly right. Yeah. That's mad right there. Yeah.
How many people miss that?
And that glass on that book. Look at that glass on that book. It's going to fall off any second.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's looking at a book too. Like what's in the book?
Yeah.
Reference.
Yeah. So you can swipe it.
Reference to Zeppelins.
Could be. Just a great piece.
Yeah.
Let me stop.
I'm looking inside the book to see if I can find credit on the on that cover because it is so nice.
Might be in the contents.
Yeah,
next to the contents.
See.
I'm not sure. I know they used to just credit everybody as the usual gang of idiots.
Yeah. Well, that was a collection of book, so it should have the credit. But
while you're looking for that, speaking of mad, Jack Davis was probably one of the, or at least the first artist or cartoonist who, whatever angle the character, you could always see the soles of his feet because he always had those holes in the shoes, didn't he? Stuff like that. Where, you know, he was fantastic, Jack Davis, wasn't he?
Desperate to show people's feet.
Yeah.
Holes in the shoes were funny.
And old pointy toes on his shoes, didn't he? Winkle pickers.
Yeah, Charles sent me a website from Brooklyn Comic Shop that talks about the top 10 comic book cover swipes. Let me get past their advertising here. They want me to join their newsletter before we show this. And that's really interesting because a lot of these that they cite, you've seen over and over again, some very iconic covers. Let me pop that up here. Let me enlarge this so we get past most of the advertising. This is from BrooklynComicShop.com. Let me get back to it here. Top 10 comic book cover swipes. Normally on lists like this, they're very subjective. So the person who wrote the top 10, this is his top 10. That's not the top 10. Probably not even an official poll to take the top 10. But look at the first two that they cite here. Thor number 126, Amazing Spider-Man 375.
Well, I would say this is an homage.
I don't even think they're that comparable. Other than
No,
one
I
character
don't. I
facing
don't
the
think.
other.
Yeah,
That is not comparable. The only thing that's similar is that both of the same legs are in front of the respective characters.
Yeah.
And that the arms are coming down at the front. But
Yeah.
that's just silly because Hercules is holding back Thor's hand, but Venom is holding back Spider-Man's hand. There's no arm across the front of the body. There's no people in the background. There's shrapnel at the bottom. There's nothing at the bottom of the Thor. The idea that this is a swipe is ridiculous. Okay, and whoever's saying it knows nothing. All right, and I'm talking to you over it. I'm talking to you over at this comic book shop. Okay, you might know loads about comics, but you know bugger all about swiping art because that's just incorrect.
There's
Joshua Stolman.
There's actually quite a few swipes of that Thor cover, but this isn't one.
This isn't one of them. No, and just get it right. If you're going to do these kind of things, get it right, okay? Because this is not, all right. And just putting up articles saying the 10 this, the 10 that, it doesn't get you clicks anymore. So please don't do that. That's rubbish.
But
okay,
that's why they keep doing it, though.
All right. Now the other one I saw up at the top, which was the
I'm sure they'll get to that because those are both very classic.
That one there, okay. Right. Again, you can say it's a swipe if you like, but the only way that I would even consider it was even close to a swipe if all those images on the right that are in circles were on cards like they're on the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Polaroids.
Which means
they're not even really Polaroids.
If they're not on those cards on the left in the right hand panel, they're in circles. Then how can it be a swipe? It's just a guy with a gun.
Yeah.
Are we saying that now? Every time you put a guy with a gun on the front, it's a swipe of a previous guy with a gun.
If it's in his right hand and he's holding it up, apparently.
Yeah. I'm sorry to be mean. Sorry if I sound mean, and all respect.
You do.
All respect to this site and to the comic book shop behind it. I love you all, guys, but I'm sorry. This one, you are wrong. Okay, and please don't do it again.
Well, we'll see.
Say what you mean, Russ.
I'll say what I mean.
Other than that, you have no strong feelings on it.
No, none. Well, as a comic book artist, as someone who can be accused of swiping, okay, and accused of homages, all right, it is important to me. All right, because I don't want to be accused of that, because I do want to keep my integrity as a comic book artist. So if I was to draw a front cover where you've got two characters going at it like that, like they did in the Thor or the Venom Spider-Man one, just because they happen to have a similar pose, I wouldn't want to be accused of swiping, because how many poses can you actually put together?
If I didn't see the
only
two,
works a certain way. So.
Yeah, if I didn't see these two together, I wouldn't have made the connection.
No.
So it is important to me that people, if you're going to do this kind of article, then do it with some substance.
Since there are so many that you could use.
Exactly. There are so many out there. Yeah.
What's happened to Spider-Man's head?
I don't know. Why has he got such a weird nose?
Sometimes
but we're getting into
blow over you.
We're getting into art criticism here, which is just like, I'm sure they were under a lot of pressure whoever did the cover.
I'm calling up another cover here.
We all do the odd janky drawing.
Yeah, but not on the cover, hopefully.
I'd like to think I wouldn't do a janky drawing on the front cover of Spider-Man. Yeah, but there you go. I'm never going to get the chance.
That is not the cover I thought it was. Let me try to find that. It's not the number. Oh.
Oh, Sugar Chris is here, and he's here on time. Check him out.
There you are.
Hey, Sugar.
You know what I also don't. You know what I also don't like. Anytime you want to
come in, Sugar, just let me know. I'll send you.
Here's something else I don't like: when they show these classic Marvel covers, and they're showing a reprint rather than the original cover.
Mm-hmm.
Just show the beautiful colors and printing of the original cover. It's easy enough to find a scan online.
That's got some airbrushed arms on there, isn't it? Looks like.
Yeah, this must be from this is from a hardcover reprint edition.
What's going on? What's going on next to Hercules' elbow?
Which elbow?
his left arm, the forearm, but at the front, there's a grey piece right at the centre of the.
It must be
Yeah,
the,
oh yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's the
his
building
belt.
behind.
Maybe part of his belt.
No, I think the grey piece is the building behind.
Right.
No, it's on his body.
Yeah, I think it's his belt.
Yeah,
No, I just think that's some janky drawing there.
it needs
sorry.
some definition.
The
I
belt,
just wonder
the
if
belt
that's-
is sideways on, and it's
Yeah,
in red,
but I
and
just
it's
wonder
got
if
like
that's.
an emblem at the front of it.
I'd like to see the original print of that. I
Of
mean,
which?
I know Vince Coletta's got his hand on it, and we all know about that. But I can't imagine.
Oh, yeah.
It should be easy enough to find. It should
Yeah.
be easy enough to find the actual cover of that.
Google.
They probably ran that in the Kirby collector somewhere.
Yeah.
The original pencils for that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Great.
All right.
look
Well,
at
I'm
that.
looking.
There
I'm
it is.
looking at the original. I'm looking at the original cover, and that is definitely his belt.
Yeah, I think it's
Hercules?
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
cut. It's got kind of a zipatone quality to it that makes it look a little bit more like a belt.
I'm going to argue the toss on that. Sorry.
Well, that's Vinny's inking though. That's you look at those buildings in the background; they almost look
I
like
know.
they were done by hand and not by a ruler.
They're
Like he was in a
terrible,
hurry.
aren't they?
Yeah, very, very much out of proportion or perspective.
I bet they weren't on the pencils.
I bet they weren't either.
It's very flat here, and it makes it look bizarre.
Yeah, I
Please.
can't look through the Thor Essentials without feeling remorse that that those pencils were a lot better than the finished inks.
Yeah.
Now, something happened a little later on with Vinny's inking on Thor, maybe around 145 or so. They started to look a lot better, I thought, and it probably was because he was giving it to his assistants to do instead of doing it himself.
That, and he might have gotten a friendly note from the main office to straighten up too,
Yeah.
make it look better. That if
Well-
Kirby had mentioned something to Stan or somebody up there at the office and they passed it on to Vinny, he might have started being a little more cautious. But again, a lot of this stuff, Vinny got the work that he got because he was quick.
Very quick.
Good, fast, or cheap, pick two. That's usually the rule. So they got him fast and cheap on that one. So
There you go.
Sugar's in the house. Good
We've-
morning, Sugar. Max is in the house. Good morning, Max. Hope you're doing well.
I believe, not
Marvis.
to labour the point,
Okay.
but I believe Bob Layton sees it the same way as I do.
What does that mean?
Don't mean he's right.
There's an image there. No, but it might mean I am.
Oh, there we go.
So it's a recreation. That's his.
Well, you can't go off a recreation,
Oh.
can you?
That's his recreation, and as you see,
No,
there you go. That's where the front of the. That's where the front of it.
No. That's a recreation. That doesn't.
That's
count.
the background.
You've got to get
That's
the
the front
original.
of the belt.
No, get the
It's as
original.
simple as that. I don't care. I told you what I thought about the original. if you think that bit in there is his belt there, you're wrong.
Geek Hero Bubba says hello. Hello, Geek Hero. Hope you're doing well. Thanks a lot for listening in.
You know, I think this picture convinces me that Russ is right.
Yeah. All this picture does is convince me that Bob Layton is a phenomenal inker.
I tell you what, let's just junk the whole discussion and just say, isn't Bob Layton fantastic?
He is fantastic.
He's like Barry Windsor Smith on his inking, isn't he?
Isn't it very similar? Yeah, because when I first saw it, I thought, oh,
Yeah, I thought
who's
that,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. No, really, really nice. I just picked that out.
I know he's done a recreation there, but if I had done that recreation, I would have had to fix those buildings that we were just talking about. I couldn't
He
recreate
did throw a
that.
lot more detail in. He might have gone back to the actual pencils.
Well, there's no perspective in those, is there? They're all that soft.
It's just awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
All
All
the
depends
perspectives
on-
off.
Again, it could have been Deadline, could have been Kirby, was probably Coletta though.
I think a recreation, yeah.
I think
Well,
even
Jack
Kirby would have gotten those a little
Oh,
straighter. You know?
Jack
Yeah.
Kirby said that if he's got time to pencil it, the inker's got time to ink it.
There you go.
Kid.
So there you go.
If you got, I got time to draw it, you got time to ink it, kid.
Vinny disagreed.
Vinny just inked.
He had to be fast and cheap.
Give me the page. Let's go. Yep.
Yeah, fast, cheap, or well done.
Good,
Pick
fast,
two.
or cheap. Yeah.
Mhm.
I worked for a apparel printer that used that as a big motto all the time, and it's like
We used to use that in back in my previous life. We used to use that in coding as well. It was exactly the same deal.
three lives ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 lives ago. It was 2 lives ago, but yeah.
Marvy has a question. What do you like and don't like about hiring someone and collaborating with a writer or artist? That would be a yes.
We're off topic there, but yeah.
What I like is when it works out, and what I don't like is when it gets all messed up.
Yeah.
What I like is when someone's original. What I don't like is when somebody steals other things like swiping or like copying other people's work. There you go. How's that?
I was in the midst of production with the original Arrow comics on a horror book that I was so proud of. It was going to be a soap opera horror title. And we had gotten an artist who shall remain nameless, even though he's dead now, and I could actually probably call him out. But he went on to be of some renown. That we went over to his house to see the progress on the title, and you could see the different panels. And it was obviously swiped, every panel that he had drawn in there. He had taken it, blown it up, and just lightbox traced it as fast as he could. Yeah.
What a disappointment.
That's what we said.
You see,
So we ended up canceling that title.
But surely, I mean, we've all done it, but surely if you're going to get a complete page and all that kind of thing, it would take you longer to find what you were going to do than it would be to do it.
Unless you weren't capable.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people out there who'll say they can do something and they can't.
Right.
And this whole idea of fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Okay, you either can do something or you can't do something. There is no shame in pushing yourself harder, yeah, and learning and having a challenge. That's all great, okay, but accepting something that you quite obviously can't produce, okay, that's another question altogether. And I'm afraid that the world is full of that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe you can say fake it till you make it is possible in certain aspects. So I suppose if you were faking it till you make it to become an adult pretender, like an actress, an actor, or a politician, maybe you could fake it till you make it. But you can't fake it. You can't fake it till you make it to be an engineer.
Russ, you're in a foul mood this morning.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in a harsh mood.
I noticed that. I've
been working hard all week, and I'm not interested in failure.
Applying that to comics, to me, the first thing that comes to mind is Bob Kane.
Boo hiss.
Saying. Because apparently he was faking it quite a bit.
He was the great pretender.
Well, there's somebody else faking it, but we won't mention that.
But let's face it, that was a long time ago.
It was.
And look at the artwork on those.
And that was back when being a comic artist was really, really low. I mean,
exactly. I don't think you can. I don't think you can compare drawing comics or creating comics back then, in its infancy, certainly the modern comic in its infancy. To going into it as a profession in the last 30 years.
Well,
I just don't think you can. So.
Part of the fun on all of these icons, especially the bigger the icon, the more you can see it, is peeling it back and seeing the inspiration where it came from. Batman has definite ties to the Shadow. There's certain issues of the Shadow that has certain aspects. There's also an old pulp character that was almost exactly like Batman when he first started out, called the Black Bat, that there's a direct tie to. There's direct ties to the Joker as a character in pulp, the pulp magazine's Pulp Fiction.
When do you draw the line on inspiration and drawing from around you? Because what artist was it that...
When you get sued.
Well done. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, when it becomes legal. Yeah, but I mean, you can say that about all stories now are built on basically the stories of.
There's only so many tropes.
There's only so many tropes.
So many cliches. Yeah. Yep.
And okay, the trope of Batman is a man in a bat costume is very specific, but you sort of mishmash some things together, and what do you got? You know,
And you can peel that back to a costume detective. You can peel that back to a costume vigilante. That goes back to Spider and Shadow and the old pulp books and all of that. Batman or Superman, same way. Clark Kent, Clark Savage. Doc Savage was the Man of Bronze. Superman's the Man of Steel. Fortress of Solitude. Doc Savage had a Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah,
there's all sorts of interconnections that you can go back
only about
and see
10 ideas in the history of the planet, isn't there, really? It's just all variations, isn't it?
Well,
and 9 of them are bad.
I think a lot of that also comes from the perception of the art of comics as an art form, because it was such a lower class. I mean, if you didn't get a job doing a comic strip, you tried to be an apprentice to the guy working at comics. If that didn't work, then you got into advertising, doing spot illustrations. If that didn't work, then you worked down a rung. Then you worked down a rung. Then you worked at a gas station. Then you did comics.
Yeah,
you had to draw. You just drop. Certain people weren't like that. I mean, Kirby and Eisner and that. Once they started doing comics, they realized that's what they were going to do, and that the power of the art form. But that was the mindset for the majority of these companies. They bought Superman from Siegel and Schuster for $100 and some because they convinced them that it was worthless. We'll just take your comic strips and cut them up into comic book pages and print that in this Action Comics #1 because we're looking for material nobody's printed before.
How about this guy? Can you see this?
Catman?
Yeah.
Catman.
Okay, I mean, he's got the same. It's one letter, literally one letter away from Batman, and he's got the same little horns on his head.
Yeah, and the teen sidekick.
Yep.
I love the way they draw these.
Oh, I like, and her name isn't Catgirl.
Oh,
It's Kitten.
Kitten. Yeah.
Catman and Kitten.
Just like Batman and Robin. Catman
and many other top-notch features.
Yeah, there were a lot of characters like that. Though. Well, in comics, once you made a mark and got popular, everybody wanted to copy you anyway.
Not very dodgy to me, those characters.
Catman and Kitten.
Russ knows what I mean.
The Golden Age was pretty, dodgy for a long time.
Yeah.
And again, it's because they looked at it as, the bottom basement of art. They didn't care as long as they could stick it out there for a dime and not get sued. Even then, you had Amazing Man and Wonder Man that come out. Will Eisner was told to copy Superman, make Amazing Man. He was the first person to really be sued for copyright infringement.
Amazing Man.
Amazing Man.
That's inspired.
Guy in a red costume. On the cover, he's holding back a plane with his hand as he's jumping between buildings. Remember that cover?
And didn't Bill Everett copy himself with the fin?
Yeah, off of Submariner.
Yeah.
Back when I can show you that cover.
Please do.
That's
got to be seen.
And
that's what we're
Eisner,
all about, showing stuff.
Eisner has said that it was a job. He was told to do it, and he did it, and then he got in trouble for it.
It's all fun and games until you get that letter from the lawyer.
Did he get in trouble, or did the publisher get in trouble?
They hauled him into court. They hauled the company into court. In fact, that's the thing that turned the tide for the court decision, is because Eisner got up on the stand under oath and said, they made me do it.
I was just following orders.
I was just following orders. But Eisner at the time was creating all sorts of characters for anybody. He was out making a living with his studio. So if we can pull that up. Nope, I get spirits.
Did you get that Pop-Tart, Randy, that I sent you?
The adult Archie thing?
Just well.
You can get Pop-Tarts on the internet?
Yeah.
Also, that was a problem for and I can't remember the creator's name, but I love his style. That was a big, and we run that at the start of Sunday Funnies. We run the cherry Pop-Tart cover through there on purpose. Larry, I can't remember his name for sure. He got sued or got threatened twice over because Archie didn't like it, and who was it? Kellogg, I think, didn't like it because he used the term Pop Tart. So he had to change that really quick over to Cherry.
Archie sued Kurtzman a couple of times, I think.
Well, back then Archie didn't have a sense of humor for nothing. They did parodies of Archie in the EC comics, and they would get mad. I mean, I think they threatened Gaines back when he put a Archie parody in the original Mad Run, and then Kurtzman did a Good Man Beaver.
Yeah,
that ran, I think, in Playboy, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was in originally it was in Help.
Help. It was in Help. Okay, I've got the Good Man Beaver collection here. That's got that. It shows the roughs for that story, but they don't dare reprint it because Archie got pretty, more than upset at it.
Well, it's in the public domain now.
Well,
that's what happened to Ray Davies and the Kinks, wasn't it? When he wrote Lola.
Yeah,
you had to change it from Coca-Cola to Cherry Cola.
Cherry Cola.
For two reasons. One, because Coca-Cola were going to jump on his head, and the BBC wouldn't play it.
COLA. Cola. It's funny because like 40, 50 years later, they'd probably prefer it that way because it's a song about transgender or transvestitism.
Right, now it's product placement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. COLA, Cola.
I went to high school with a girl who Kinks was her favorite band. That was her favorite song, and I had to tell her that Lola was a man. She didn't know.
No, that's like finding out at the end of The Sixth Sense that he's dead. Of course he's dead.
Doesn't it tell you in the song?
I know.
Of course he's dead. Look at that. I had my best mate say, "God, it was a real twist at the end."
Yeah, I wish you could have seen the look on her face.
She obviously didn't listen to it. I'm glad. I'm glad he's a man.
Listen, so am I. See, that's the crazy thing. We're going on. There's this big worldwide thing. LGBT and all the rest of it. I remember being a little kid, and listening to that song and thinking, "Oh, that's nice." Do you know what I mean? It's nice he found someone. It's really good. It never occurred to me to think, "Oh no, that's awful because because it's a gay thing or because he's dressed up as a woman." No, that's brilliant. Well done. I could see. I was only small and I was counterculture. Do you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, that's really cool. I like that. I don't understand.
No, it wasn't a political statement at the time.
No, it was just a song.
Yes,
with cola in it. But let's get back. There was
I'm still looking for that cover. I found a different Amazing Man that's currently in public domain.
Hurry up, Zim.
I'm sorry. Here it is. Wonder Man. That's what I was thinking of.
I could be running out to McDonald's to get a biscuit. Come on, hurry up.
Not in my area. No, sir. They have no biscuits today.
Do you know what? That is the great. That's a real sign of fantastic comedy. Is self-reference. You referenced the earlier show. You're going to get a laugh.
It's a callback.
Yeah,
that's known as a callback.
A callback. Yeah, we like that. The biscuits still aren't biscuits.
Here it's Wonder Comics, Wonder Man.
Yeah, look at that.
This is Eisner. This is the first character sued out of existence.
And he was definitely jumping a tall building there.
Yeah, jumping between buildings. Yeah,
is that
stopping an airplane?
Is that machine gun firing or is oil coming out the end of it?
That's an explosion on the street.
No, machine gun on the plane.
What?
Oh yeah, looks like it. Yeah.
Is it so that bullets are bouncing off him?
Oh, he's dropping a bomb.
And so they thought they'd get away with that just by making him.
And red. This is 1939, so this was right out of the gate.
Yeah. Yep. Right out of the gate.
Let's make him red and put a collar on him. No one will notice.
No one. No. Same powers.
Superhuman exploits of the Wonder Man. I love the way they get their own comic as well, Wonder Comics. And that lasted, one issue?
This particular Wonder Comics did, yes, but Fawcett Publishers kicked out another Wonder Comics with another Wonder Man. And after this was already in trouble. And National Periodical sued them too. And there's like 6 issues of Wonder Comics out. With Wonder Man in it, and they stopped it. And Fawcett did because they saw how this lawsuit went. They said we're probably screwed. And then they turned around and made Captain Marvel, stuck that out. She's Billy Batson, Captain Marvel, and use the mythology and the magical angles, so that when National came at them with another cease and desist, they just flipped the bird at them and said, "Screw you, take us. We don't care. We'll fight this in court." And then they took Captain Marvel, the Billy Batson Captain Marvel, and turned it into a huge powerhouse. Not only did they do Captain Marvel, they did Captain Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel and just every Marvel, Hoppy the Marvel Bunny, every Marvel that they could. And just shoved this right in there, right, just constantly in their face. Here's another Marvel. There's a whole Marvel family. There's a Grandpa Marvel. There's 3 Lieutenant Marvels. There's all of this stuff going on. National Periodicals never sued them for years, all the way through World War II, until what really got their goat is National had leased the rights for Superman to the Fleischer Studios to make cartoons, and they had leased all of the rights for theaters. And Fawcett was able to get a serial, live action serial of Captain Marvel into the theaters, which was great. And it was so good quality, National Periodicals off, wanted to know, how come we haven't sued these guys over this character yet? Oh, they've already sent them a cease and desist. Well, let's throw them into court now. So years afterwards, and that court case lasted for like 3 years, and they kept pulling up examples of what Captain Marvel, exploits of what Captain Marvel had done, and show that before that Superman had done it. Almost the exact same thing over and, multiple. Well, at this point, Captain Marvel was coming out twice weekly. Or twice monthly, I mean. Plus, Wiz Comics had Captain Marvel in it. And they took that Wonder Comics title that they stopped Wonder Man in, and I think threw Captain Marvel Jr. in there. And then had Yow Comics, if I remember right, and had Mary Marvel in there. And then had a Marvel Family comic coming out constantly. Plus, Hoppy the Marvel Bunny had his own book coming out.
The Marvel Bunny.
How did they keep track of all this?
They were just running Marvels right at them, So anyway, in the court, like I said, they were pulling up examples of Captain Marvel and showing that Superman had done this exploit before that. Fawcett would always counter that by pulling up pictures of Popeye and show that Popeye did the exact same thing before Superman did. And like I said, that battle lasted for years in the court. And then finally, the superhero genre was starting to die down in the very early 50s. Fawcett made the decision, because they were seeing their numbers drop, to get out of the comic book publishing business, because they published magazines for decades after that of all sorts of different types, except comics. They got out on the guarantee to DC that they would stop publishing Captain Marvel.
So how did Marvel get Captain Marvel?
Long story. Here we go. Then they paid DC a couple of $100,000 to make the lawsuit go away, which at that point they figure barely covered the lawyers' expenses on National Periodical side. And then they backed away. Last issue of the Marvel Family has them in negative space, their silhouettes on the cover, saying the Marvel Family has disappeared. Read all about it inside. They even went out flipping them off, as they went out the door, right? Then the ultimate, nobody bothered to secure copyrights because Fawcett had stopped doing it. DC didn't care about Captain Marvel for years. DC starts looking for products to sell again, or books to bring back. And they decide that they're going to do Captain Marvel. They want to do Shazam Captain Marvel. They got a hold of C.C. Beck, who was the original creator. He was willing to come back. He only come back for a short period of time, though. He left because he said the script sucked really bad and just had to go. And if you've read Captain Marvel, you would know. And you read the Shazam books, there's a definite difference in quality there, because by the time they had brought him back in the late 70s, nobody knew how to write the whimsy and the little fantastic elements that were part of the original Captain Marvel. Well, in the meantime, the Captain Marvel trademark lapses. And there was a guy out there whose name also escapes me, decided, I'm going to do my own version of these characters, these old Golden Age characters that all their trademarks have lapsed. I'm going to do my own version. So one of the versions he did was he did a Captain Marvel for like 3 issues of a character dressed in purple that would yell split and all of his body parts would come apart. And would fly out and do different things and then reconstruct, right? Like he was an android. They called that guy Captain Marvel. He also did a Plastic Man character and a bunch of other just blatantly taking all of these old trademarks and doing new versions of characters on them. Well, he knew he wasn't going to last for very long. And at that point, Marvel was raging with their early Marvel material. So they came to him and they bought the rights for that trademark off of that guy for Captain Marvel for a few $1,000, for $9,000-$10,000. And the guy was happy to do it. And he took that money and started his own line of black and white magazines, black and white comic magazines like Voodoo Tales and Weird Tales and all that in order to compete against Warren, which he did for another like decade and a half, 2 decades or so. But in the meantime, Marvel did the Marvel Captain Marvel, and they were so sure that they had security on that right because the other trademark had lapsed. DC back in the 70s decides they want to do Captain Marvel too, but they can't put Captain Marvel really big on the cover. So they run Shazam, which was the code word he had for changing into Billy, and then ran in little letters underneath the original Captain Marvel, underneath that. In order to get those rights, they rented them literally from Fawcett for money. Every time Captain Marvel appeared anywhere, they had to pay Fawcett money. So for years, while they did the Shazam comic and while they had Shazam pop in different places, they did large treasury books, they did 100-page super spectaculars where they were reprinting all of that stuff. They were paying the whole time rights back to Fawcett for the character.
Good Lord.
You can read all about it.
There we go. Marvel's a miracle.
In Crikey number 11.
There you are.
I like that segue.
It's just, always promote, as Brian K. Morris would say. There you are. Yeah, that's classic. Well, the idea of Captain Marvel was so popular that he got ripped off all over the world. That whole idea was just
Marvel Man in the UK. That's Marvel Man, isn't
Marvel
it?
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the UK, Miracle Man at Marvel right now.
And he ended up Miracle Man.
Miracle Man.
There he is.
Because he had 2 M's on his chest. They had to make it say something. Yeah.
That's that cover you were showing us.
That word Marvel either.
That's that drawing, isn't it? That homage.
Well, they had like a one in silhouette and one of the Punisher. Yeah. It's like how often it did look very. I will give that one some credit.
It was the exact same outline.
Yeah, it was the same outline. Yeah.
We'll pull that back up here.
Whereas there's a difference between if you just show a silhouette of a character on the
but
front,
how
a concept. That's an idea.
How different can you stand? Can a person?
Well,
stand?
take a look at it. It's identical.
It's one thing having you can argue exactly as you're saying. You can stand differently, but if you trace the outline, which is kind of what it looked like.
Yeah, I would say this is a swipe. And Randy's looking for it.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Go back to our friends at that website. We're going to say, yes, you got one right.
Boom.
Yeah, I mean that's very close, isn't it?
And again,
look at in every respect.
In every respect, yeah. Right the way down to the way that you've got his hand at the front. It's now got a sword in it.
The tilt of the shoulders, the position of the right arm with the gun, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's not an homage. That is a swipe.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's
certified swipe.
But it's swiping the individual illustration rather than the whole cover.
Yeah. You're not swiping the character design. You're just swiping the layout.
Yeah. You're just swiping the way the character's standing.
Yeah.
Not actually. And like you say, it's not even so sort of along the lines of they're standing in a similar pose. That really looks like they've kind of traced around it and then added their.
Now I swiped from myself with this because you see that outline, or just imagine the outline of the character. Okay,
hang on.
I had another artist do a demo drawing of Rammer before this cover, different artist, and then I gave the outline of what the other artist did to this artist and said, draw him in this position. And I just gave him the outline. So artist A drew this, but artist B did the positioning. So that I swiped myself. Now I paid both artists, so
then it's not.
And I was buying all right, so not really a problem. But this is the kind of thing that you do when you're creating comics. Is
Yeah.
It looks so great. The positioning looks so great, but I didn't want the artist who did the demo to do this cover, so I gave it to the interior artist, and I said, here's the outline. It all worked out.
William Pace says, "Wow, it's bloody early. Must be the Across the Pond edition."
Well, half and half.
Half and half. Charles and I are here in the States, and it's just barely 16 or 6. Quarter after 6 in the morning.
USA.
See that?
Where Glenn and Russ are, it's 11. It's almost noon there.
We've already had our avocados.
Yeah. Look at the way that guy's running. That Punisher guy's running on that.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
I mean, how does he stop? Without
how does he keep moving forward?
Yeah.
How does he not fall to the floor?
Yeah.
Is he keeping himself up with his rifle?
Yeah,
because he looks like
he's just leaning into it.
Yeah, it's all perpetual motion.
Oh,
that's probably a swipe of a picture that actually worked.
I can't get past the hole in the chest on the ninja dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the design for one of those picture discs. Perhaps that's a 45. You can play it on your record.
Oh,
There
yeah,
you go.
look at that. It's right. It is right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, they ripped off a disc rather than a sun behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that circle was swiped from somewhere.
Oh, wonders of compasses back then. That's what that was. That's not something that I bet this was long before computer. That Rye cover.
Yeah, let's scroll down and see what other nonsense this guy put up here.
Let's talk to Geek Hero Bubba here. Says Bob Layton has canceled all 3 times I went to conventions to see him. Well, don't take it personal. Hero Bubba. Says, I'm beginning to think he just doesn't want to come to Oklahoma or Texas. LOL.
You might be right.
He's probably got other stuff going on a lot of times, and depending upon I've met
Texas and those 2 states are a B plan.
Ouch, you just insulted our viewer. Anyway. I met Bob Layton twice at 2 different points in his career. One, I had him sign a page from Champions that he inked over top of John Byrne, and he gave me the exact same reaction that John Byrne gave me when he signed that page. He looked me straight in the face and said, "You like this? Okay." And
We're all our own worst critics.
That's exactly what John Byrne said when I said, "I love this. This is awesome." And Byrne just kind of cringed when he signed it, because it was a real early piece. He did Champions, I think, was one of the first regular gigs he got at Marvel. I ended up selling that page at a hell of a profit too, but that's another story. Originality was never their claim to fame. LOL. Yeah. Says Geek Hero Bubba says justice for Fawcett. Fawcett's such an interesting company. The more I look into them, the more fascinating they are, and the more cutthroat they seem to be. The more they were out there just not really caring as long as they made money. It's like we're gonna get sued. We don't care. Turn them into a bunny. It'll be great.
You got to respect that.
Turn him into an ape.
and a robot at the same time.
You know what's selling? Fluffy bunnies. Do that.
Do it.
Yeah.
Shazam bunny.
Call him Hoppy.
Hey, and Elvis swiped Captain Marvel Jr.'s hair.
His whole costume. Actually, he turned the story is he turned the costume over to the Captain Marvel Jr.'s costume over to a costume designer. Says, "I want that," and he ended up with the tall collar and cape, white suit that he ended up wearing. I think was in Vegas. 2 X-Men covers.
Yeah, I'd like to see their description of what they consider a swipe, because that's definitely an homage.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
the same comic. It's the same title.
Yeah. And even if it wasn't, it's quite obviously an homage, because there's been no. It's not like they're both male figures and exactly the same position. They're just generally posed.
Here's something interesting about this cover is that the original Neil Adams drawing had the logo being smashed to bits, and Marvel rejected that and had him redo this. And I guess Byrne said, "Do you know what? Bigger than Neil Adams ever was. I'm going to smash this thing.
Well, also at the time that Neil Adams was working on the X-Men, he took X-Men because it was the lowest selling title that Marvel had.
Yep.
And then they gave him pretty much free will. That's why you've got on the work that he did. That's why all of the costumes shifted, and the layouts inside the book were really radical because they didn't care. They had Neil Adams on a book.
Rad, man.
Rad.
I remember there's a fantastic panel in it of Cyclops, so like that classic Adams upshot when he's firing his beams. It was never seen anything like that at the time.
At a camel jockey. That's what he's saying in that picture. He's calling the person he's blasting a camel jockey.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Couldn't do that today.
Wow. Yeah. No. Anyway. All American and comic or Kingdom Come.
No, I'm not having that. That's just what else are you gonna do?
That's just a bunch of superheroes standing around.
That's just plain stupid.
Yeah, that's just.
Sorry, I was going back a bit and trying to be kind, but no, this is just
no.
stupid.
I'm just going to say
the mean Russ is back.
Article, so I haven't seen this yet.
This is crap. Take it down now.
Oh crap! Nobody insults Alex Ross.
And what about that Neil Adams cover on the 100-pager? Why not throw that in there too?
Who's the guy?
Oh yeah, that was a great.
Who's the
cover.
guy on the
that.
Kingdom Come cover at the front? Looks like my father-in-law. Who's that? Who's that supposed to be?
Jordan Peterson, I think.
Oh right.
Anyway,
okay.
Is that a middle-aged Power Girl?
Yes.
All right.
If you look at the lettering on All American, it says brand new, and new is underlined. I wonder if that was underlined on the script but meant to be in bold.
Could be.
Power Girl's looking pretty MILF there.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I've never read this.
No.
I know it's critically acclaimed. I just haven't.
Well,
read
it's
it.
my turn to be Russ. You probably saved yourself a lot of grief because I've read Kingdom Come. I did not like it at all.
Right.
I thought it was horribly disjointed and just in generally sucked, but the artwork was pretty.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'd only buy it for
Extremely
the artwork.
Yeah.
Alex Ross is definitely superb.
That's my opinion though. But I have tried to read Kingdom Come since then a couple of times, and I just cannot get into it for now.
I just noticed with the typography above that the writer of this column made the same point I just made. I didn't even see it about Neil Adams and Byrne smashing the logo.
Oh.
He was making the same reference.
Crush that title. Yeah.
Even more reason for them to understand it's an homage, not a swing.
And then Steranko
Good point.
with the Hulk, didn't he?
Yes.
When he was holding it up.
Well, I can honestly tell you that Steranko has at least a half an hour's worth of material off of that cover.
Yeah.
If you ever see him at a convention, prepare yourself for a great show because Steranko's always a showman, but he will go off on that cover and tell you a couple of stories about how he did that cover in a weekend. And they took it into the office and they were freaking at it because he was hard pressed on a deadline. He was given the thing to do literally over the weekend because they had to get it out to the printer. They had Marie Severin go through and remove 3/4 of the veins and the detail on the Hulk
and his whole face
and his face. Yeah. And his whole face because it was too rough, too realistic.
Yeah, I've seen both.
Not rough looking. It was.
I bought the comic off the stands at the time and thought it was a great picture.
It's an incredible.
And then I saw the original and thought, I would have bought that.
Yeah. Well,
that wouldn't have scared me away.
A lot of times, a lot of those editorial decisions were overcompensating, and there's a whole big story about Black Panther that's just.
Yeah, I don't remember that from the original. I remember that from a lot of the advertising in Marvel UK, the big sort of Foom push and everything, and Mighty World of Marvel and all that kind of stuff. And that image was just used again and again and again and again.
It's because it
and
was
many homages on that one,
and just so damn impressive. Really was.
Absolutely.
Steranko is just this. It's just. it's just this. His comic book art, not because obviously he's a fantastic artist. But his comic book art is just. It just brings out so many different emotions in you. It's just because sometimes you can look at a panel and go, "Oh, that's a bit janky and a bit odd," and then you'll look at it in the whole page and it'll be like some sort of image of perfection. It's just bizarre. His work, I just love his work, and I love the photocopy stuff, the photographic stuff he put in, which also Kirby had been doing.
Yeah.
And I just, because I do that sometimes in my own work as well. I just love it, absolutely love it.
Steranko did a story for Tower of Shadows #1, a horror story called, I think it was called At the Stroke of Midnight.
Hang on, I got it.
It's unbelievable. It's not only one of the best things he's done, but one of the best things that's ever been done in comics. There's about 1 million panels on each page. There's also an amazing cover that was rejected for Tower of Shadows, and when you look at it, and I've got it here. I'll see if I can get that downloaded and share.
No, I literally have.
Oh, do you have the cover, the rejected cover?
No, I don't have the rejected.
Oh, okay, so that's black and white. That's from where was that reprinted in black and white?
This is out of Les Daniels' comics, The History
of
America.
Oh, I have that. I have that.
This has got that story in it, and it's just, look at that. It's just amazing. Even in black and white, it's phenomenal. Just beautiful work.
Well, that when he was getting towards the end of Nick Fury, and he did that, there were 2 episodes that really struck me. The one where he turned into an alien in a dream.
Gravedigger.
Yeah.
Which I can't remember the title. It was stunning stuff.
Just
loads of graphics in it.
Phenomenal
And
material.
then also the one where he was on the moor with the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. #3.
Oh my God, that was so good. And
that
then
was
the
one
other,
of those. That was one of those books I obliterated because I went through and studied it so deeply.
And the other one that lots of people
falling apart. Yeah,
lots of people talk about where he got paid less and he was annoyed about it. Where there was 3-4 pages where he was killing his own life model decoy, and it was there were no words and he climbed up the outside and the graphics for the start of the story with the side of the building, and it was like, oh God, it was overload for my kiddie brain. I was like, oh God,
when you see Steranko in black and white, you can see where Frank Miller came from or what he was looking at, can't you?
Yes, you can, yeah. And it's just,
all of Sin City is right there.
The guy is just right up there. It's just just genius level material. There's only a few of them, and there are, that's not to say there aren't greats. There aren't many greats in comic book, but in comic book art. But there's only a few that you can really call genius, I think, because I think the word genius is overused.
And
but he's one of them.
Apart from his artwork, Steranko's wig is genius as well.
There's the rejected cover Steranko did for Tower of Shadows #1. This one I can understand why they rejected it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, look at that.
I can't even blow that up. That's awesome.
Yeah, he didn't do the cover. The eventual cover that was published was not his cover.
Can you zoom in on that, Charles?
Probably not. Let's see. Oh yeah.
Let's have a look. Whoa! Look at all that detail in her around her her dress on her
that is
section.
That's Sin City right there. That's Sin City.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah,
without a doubt.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the story itself is only, I think, I don't know, 5 pages, whatever it is, and it's probably got 130 panels total.
I think it's 5 or 6. Let me find it again here. 4, 6. It's 7 pages long.
7
pages long. First page is 2 panels. Then it goes to 10. Then it goes to 4, 6, 8, 9.
What size was he drawing at?
16, 17.
That was at that point. That would have been the new smaller size.
So he was 2 to 10 to 21 panels on a page.
So he was drawing those panels on A3 paper, effectively.
11, 1117 is
11,
Yeah,
17.
look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me get my hand out of the way and
Yeah.
Do you know what he was?
dust
Was he
cover off.
using a brush or was he using pens,
I don't know.
quills?
Look at that.
Oh, let me blow me up here.
I'm going to find the color version because that's worth looking at.
Just look at that.
That's 21 panels on a page, folks.
Yeah.
21 panels. That beats
there's-
Simonson's 16 for Manhunter.
Bit the cheat though,
I
on
like
that face.
Yeah, I was about to say he's cheating on the face, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the
Beautiful.
color. All right. Let's see.
That's not it.
All right. I've got the color here. And I hate to potentially bump up the value of this comic, but I don't know how many people are going to see this and go crazy.
You'll know if Comic Tom rates it as one of the top
Yeah.
100.
So here we go. Okay. Can you see this? All right. So this was the original. This is the cover that was rejected. This is the cover they used,
Ah, yes.
Oh
Yep.
my god. Yeah, I
which
remember
is a
that.
Romita cover. And here's page 1.
There you are.
Oh, yes.
Only 2 panels.
I had that. Why don't I have that now?
Pretty solid colors, too.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
And here's page 2. Look at this. Look at this.
I love the base colors.
Yeah, he did the colors, of course.
I was just going to ask that. I bet he
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he was, look at how things are pushed and pulled in there, just
Yeah.
using the color.
You
Just
know,
amazing.
sometimes you go back and you read a story that was published 30, 40 years ago, and you're afraid it's not going to hit you the same way. Well, I recently reread this story, and I think it hit me even more than it did originally. Look at this.
Just great material.
I love you've got these panels that are so small, and the dialogue works perfectly with it. And then you've got this panel here where it's a small panel, but he said, I'm going to break it up into 3 panels, but it's just one picture.
Who wrote the story?
Let's see. Written and illustrated by
Steranko.
Steranko.
Yep. Right.
So he's 100% responsible for this, except for the lettering. Here's the next page. Look at this. And since we're talking about
That's 12
swipes and
panels.
homages, this is a swipe and homage to nothing. This is originality.
Yeah.
Look at that top panel, the way that it's the same panel.
Right, he did it
All the way
again.
across,
He
just
broke
flip.
up one. He broke up one picture.
Fabulous, isn't it?
And again,
and
every
it worked so
panel's-
well.
He did that because every panel's a beat. He wanted
Yes,
you to read
and
the
the
story in
the
succession.
dialogue. I mean, the captions work with that breaking down of the panels. And this is spooky as hell. These 3 panels here with no words. And here's the next page. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this angle.
He did a lot of the same motif in the Chandler graphic
Yep.
novel that he did.
Yeah.
That Byron Price printed.
Look at these little panels here. The wheelchair, guy in the wheelchair being pushed off a cliff. The woman in this story is pure evil. And here's the final page with retribution.
On that previous page where that guy's going off the cliff, it's like, how do I draw somebody being pushed off a cliff? I know, I won't show the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet, even without reading it, you know exactly what's going on.
going on. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Masterclass work right there.
And
Just
spoiler alert, they end up back in time.
And even if that isn't split into 2 panels, that top tier, it still looks like 2 panels.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that. It
So
looks like-
brilliantly done.
yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that in comics. This is pure comics.
I'm pointing at you.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's
No
Tower of
word.
Shadows
Oh.
'1. If you want
Yes.
to go digging for that,
And,
good
and
luck.
that can be found at relatively reasonable prices. However, I've tried to find it in high grade. Good luck on that.
All of that material would be slabbed at this point.
Not Steranko, but that's a nice
Yeah,
illustration to the right. That's
Hard
that
hunt.
book, like that Flash Gordon.
The Flash
Yeah.
Gordon, yeah.
It's a nice cover as well.
Yeah. This website is called beachbumcomics.blogspot.com.
If you can, type that into
course
the
it is.
chat, can you,
Yeah.
Charles?
What's that?
Can you share that into the chat?
Copy and paste.
Yeah.
Let's try. How do I do that?
Right click on
Okay.
your mouse, hit copy, and
Oh, I got it copied. Where do I paste it?
down it's where it says post a comment down in the lower right. If you've got that on your computer,
Okay. Let's see.
it says there's
There
a,
we go. There we
that says
go.
all.
Yep, got
Yeah.
it. All right. Done.
So if you're interested in seeing that story, you can go to that site and take a good look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It just gave me a chill up my spine to review that again.
A good shape one is on eBay right now for 20
There you
bucks.
go.
Yeah.
Go for it, guys. I've got 2 or 3 copies myself.
Says every time I see Steranko, he's slamming people's items down on the table before signing. LMAO. I always thought it was hilarious.
God damn it.
You ever see Steranko at a show? Like I said, chalk off a little bit of time, go talk to him. I got an autograph from him for my sketchbook, and it was a half an hour. And a half an hour and about 5 or 6 great stories. Because when he's at the shows, he's there to be a showman, and that's what he is. And he puts on a show. I've heard stories. You take him to dinner, it's the evening. You know, you're
Randy,
talking
and
3
you
or 4
mentioned,
hours, and you're gone.
You
Yeah.
mentioned Weird Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on this website that I just linked is in the right hand column there is the Weird Heroes pulp with the Steranko cover.
I took that out of there.
Yeah. So
There.
people.
T3 Comics, 1000% showman. Yeah. Yep. He said,
Yeah,
said, I talked to him for a bit and he signed my shield. There you go. Just grabbed a good one. LOL.
Isn't he getting to be in mid-80s now?
By the way, T3, good morning. He still looks good. Nobody does shows like Steranko. I mean, when he's there, he's in suit, white, perfect hair. He's just there for the performance. Somebody, while I was standing in line, asked him to take his picture. And he looked at him and says, young man, says, I don't allow any photographs of me taken at shows unless I've got 2 women on both sides. 2 beautiful women. He says, you go find those beautiful women, you bring them here, you can take a photograph. That's exactly what he said.
That's a good policy.
No shits given.
None. Just great stuff. And you can be a showman at these shows and not and somebody that's got the cred that only way you can describe it that Steranko has is he's just great, and every time he's at a show he pulls in a crowd.
Well, it's been said before. It's been said before. Nobody's got a bigger reputation with fewer pages published.
No,
I think, yeah. I think I posted a photograph on my timeline one time when I was at a show across the hall from him. I says, you can be cool, but you'll never be Steranko cool. I think I might start using that. Yeah. Might come in handy. T3. He ended up getting a picture, though. So it was all good.
Can we go back to that page that Russ hates so much with the swipes that are not swipes and the homages
we
that
need
are
to get back
homage?
there. We're already at
Yeah.
an hour and 40, so
Yeah.
Let me throw this up into the regular chat, and
Because Russ is starting to calm down, and that's not good entertainment.
that it's worth the energy alone. Yeah, especially early in the morning. There we go. That link is in the chat. If you want to copy that and go take a look at that story digitally, you're more than welcome to. Don't leave yet, though. We still got more stuff going on. You might want to wait until we're all done. Here we are back. That was number 7. We still have 7.
All right,
6 more
my
to go.
blood is starting to boil already. Let's
Number 6.
Let's look at the next one.
Comic Scene.
Oh,
Todd McFarlane, 1987. Bob Kane, 1989. They probably paid through the nose for that cover too. If Kane actually did it.
What? Bob Kane drew the one on the right.
Yes,
His name is on it.
his name's on it.
yeah.
Okay, right. Whatever you may or may not think of Bob Kane, at that moment in time, he was king of Batman. He can draw whatever he bloody likes.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody drew my character D and then I recreated the one that they drawn. So what? It's mine. I do what I like.
Right.
All right, I guess Russ is going to be doing the commentary from here on, and that's
I think
okay.
I think you could actually call that a swipe.
Yeah,
I think you could.
I think.
I think you could.
yeah.
Number 5. Oh yeah.
Hmm?
That's not. How is that?
Leyendecker Advertising, 1920, and versus Batman Harlequin, 1999.
The only rip-off there is that Joe on the right, that Joker face. That's Jack Nicholson off The Shining on the photograph at the end.
That's utter crap. Not what you said, Glenn.
Yeah, and
It's
I'll tell you why,
It's the same atmosphere.
because that
Right.
pose is so, the pose on the right is so it's a standard pose that people have, especially dancers.
Yeah.
And it's not really that similar to the one on the left.
No.
It's not. It's just that somebody.
It's just a woman in front.
someone.
It's a woman
Yeah.
in front of a man tilting her head.
Yeah.
No, I mean that is reaching. That's really reaching hard.
That's
and
putting it
there's
nicely,
and there's
Russ.
there's so many swipes this guy could have used, and this is what he picks.
Yeah. There's probably.
Yeah.
I tell you what. There's probably. I mean, I'm not gonna say this about the cover artist because I do not know. Okay, I do not know. Right, but there's loads and loads of pictures out there, photographs like library photographs that are probably closer to what's painted on the right.
Maybe the exact thing.
Maybe the exact thing. Exactly. I wasn't going to say that because I don't know, and I wouldn't want to say that about.
I said maybe.
But even then, you said it. But even then, at the end of the day, they rendered it, they created it. It's
Exactly.
beautiful. It's a fantastic piece of art. So it doesn't matter. But that would at least there'd be less of a reach if you found the picture rather than that.
Well, Ross
He
has
probably
admitted-
worked.
admitted
He might have
using
been working
photoreference.
from a photograph he took himself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's usually how he works. It's off of photos he takes himself and poses with lighting and all of that in order to get it accurate.
Totally makes sense.
Onward to number 4. Death of Captain Marvel.
Now this is hysterical.
Pieta, 1505, and the Death of Captain Marvel, 1982.
That doesn't count as a swipe.
No,
One's
no. Or an homage.
No, one's a drawing and the
I
other
don't know
one
though. If you look
is
at
not.
if you look at the death guy's cloak, the folds are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when does that become it's only a swipe, surely, if they're both from the same medium.
Yes. Yeah.
I would consider that to be more of a homage.
Yeah.
But kind of a silly one.
Yeah. But so, for
Yeah.
instance, if you had somebody standing in the same pose as the David statue,
Does
Yeah.
Mary have?
that would
does,
obviously be an homage. It would not be a swipe.
does
Yeah.
Mary have nipples in that sculpture?
Yes, she does. Yeah, warm anyway.
Wow, that's really well spied. Yeah, and it looks like she does, and indeed a wet shirt.
Yeah.
One wonders why.
Yeah.
Do you know what I don't like about Jim Starlin's artwork?
Go on.
The way there's always one leg raised. Every time, look at all those people on that cover. They've all got one
there's
leg
two
raised.
there's two Jim Starlins. There's Jim Starlin pre this book, and then this book and beyond. He broke his hand playing volleyball or something. No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
Why does that make you draw a leg sticking up?
And I saw a noticeable difference in his artwork starting with this book, and I never really thought his artwork was even close to what it looked like before this book. He used to play volleyball with a group of people in the Hudson Valley, not too far from where I live, and there's a lot of Wrightson lived just south of me, Starlin, and there was a group of people that used to get together and play volleyball. And I think he broke his hand.
Ristolian says the David statue. Russ, I told you didn't have to make me a statue.
Mate, that's going to take quite a lot of marble.
I thought that Captain Marvel the first graphic novel. Well, not the first graphic novel, but the first one that started.
Yes, it was the first one that Marvel did.
Yeah,
Yes.
the first Marvel graphic novel.
I bought that with great hopes and thought,
Yeah, it sold 8 trillion copies and made Starlin very rich.
doesn't mean it's any good.
And soon after that, we got Super Boxers.
Yes.
It's great. Anyway.
Yeah.
Just killed the conversation. Thank you very much. All right. We are Avengers 145, a New Mutants number.
All the
87.
notes.
And
All
Russ
the
has
notes.
already made.
We already called nonsense on this one.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Absolute nonsense.
But look at that
I will-
classic Gil Kane cover.
I will say though, you can see some similarities in the hand. You look at the way the hand is holding the gun. There are some distinct similarities in
And
the
the
way
other
the
hand.
fingers are presented, and the other hand. So you can understand, but swipe no.
And I'll bet
swipe no.
I'll bet the editor said I don't want those photographs because we're not going to be able to get as good a look at the characters as we will with these circles.
If you look at the magazine on the guns, the base of the magazine is the same, isn't it, with that line?
Yeah,
Very similar. Yeah. But
And
as soon as you make them circles, even though that's a design decision, not an illustrative one, it doesn't make it a swipe. I'm sorry, but it doesn't.
I agree.
Well, the Comics Journal had a running column for a good 3 years of them putting Liefeld's work up against layouts of other people and how exact it was. They had figured that he, in his youth, he was doing a lot of photocopying and blowing it up and light boxing.
Yeah, well, that's different. That's tracing.
Yeah,
that's tracing, and it's like I say, there's nothing wrong with tracing, but tracing other people's work, no, that's a big no.
But on the Kane cover, the body is tilted also, where on the Liefeld cover, he's straight on. So.
I've seen people pick out like Buscema anatomy and all kinds of other artists and say, oh look, this looked like other artists. It's like, are you serious? Are you serious? It just so happens they're in the same position. And
they've got 2 legs and 2 arms.
Exactly. Yeah. So I on second look, I'll be a little bit more humble on this and say I can see where they're coming from, but there's no way on earth. Okay, it's an homage.
Mm-hmm. At best.
At best, yeah.
Yeah. Onward we go. Number 2. Well,
again, homage.
The Spider-Man logo versus Amazing Spider-Man 300. Yeah, very much so. Only the McFarlane illustrations hell of a lot more dynamic.
Yes, it is. It's got so much really more to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think that's the first time. That's the first time I remember Spider-Man's foot almost being above his head.
Yeah.
In a position like this, just great stuff.
Huge energy in that.
Mm-hmm. But that was part of McFarlane's appeal during that run, was he brought that kind of energy to the title.
And he used the big eyes that that Ditko used early on.
Yep.
Mm.
But again, these were aspects of the character that had just been mixed and matched,
lost over time.
Yeah, I do. we're all joking here, joking apart. This site, whatever, whatever they want to put up, that's fine. But I do think there's a serious misunderstanding of the way that you get to artwork, the way that you have to produce. Yes, there's artistry in this, and there is some integrity to be had as an artist, but at the same time, these things are there to be done and made money from. They're there to tell stories and get the job done. You're under a deadline, and sometimes you do stuff, and as long as you're not, if you're an independent and you're copying other people's independent work, or even big companies, yes, that's wrong. Okay, but if you're within the same boundaries, then you just got to get the job done.
Well, also on the independent side of things, you're not necessarily up against a tight deadline. Sometimes you are, but it's more of a personal deadline than a professional get it done, or we get a heavy fine type of deadline that had to get done and in.
T3's got it right in the comments. They're just saying it's like a flip book.
Different, the one he is swinging, the other he's spraying the web. Yeah,
it's almost like he's moving through. Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like a flip book.
Yeah.
Next page, scene of him swinging. It's letting go of the one on the left and spraying a new one on the right. Yeah, very much so.
It's like Banksy.
Yeah. And remember, these top 10 lists are always so subjective to the person who's writing it or putting it together. And a lot of times, especially in some of the larger magazines like your Entertainment Weekly or your Rolling Stone, they make these lists off kilter on purpose in order to piss people off, to get attention.
I'm sure this website is absolutely loving the fact that we're screaming at it.
Yeah. Well, CBR is also notorious for running top 10 lists that you just look at and shake your head and go, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Whatever.
Here we go. Rollerball. Number 1, Rollerball movie poster, 75 Infinity Gauntlet, number 1.
I think maybe inspired by, possibly.
Just because there's a clenched fist.
But I don't think that. I think as a comic book artist, you're constantly thinking of drama, and it's quite putting that clenched fist in front of a face. That's a bit of a trope, I suppose, and it's something that you'll return to again and again and again as a comic book artist. And I think this is a reach as well. And for them to put it at number 1, good Lord, what's wrong with you?
I would consider it a subconscious lift at best.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
But again, it doesn't have the Infinity Gauntlet cover. It's dynamic, and just look at the way he did different panel lines off of the reflection from the gems.
Yeah, but James Caan. What are you going to do?
James Caan. That Infinity Gauntlet cover is just amazing, but I'm always in admiration of Perez's work. So
I have those.
Thanos likes rollerball. Nothing more than a Bob Peaks movie poster for rollerball. There's nothing out of the movie or story that relates to Perez's famous comic cover. What a swipe. Not really.
What a swipe!
And the writers the writers even complaining that they didn't give a nod to Bob Peak, which would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, get out of here.
I'm sure you can pull off 10 swipes in comics, especially now. Especially given the amount of homages and variant covers that have been done over the years.
And
that would be better than this top 10 list.
You hold so much subconsciously as well.
That's very true. Yeah.
I mean, I have drawn things and thought, oh yeah, that's really good, and then later on found a cover or a piece of work, and I'm thinking, oh, it's very similar. I must have just slipped in there. You don't do it on purpose. You don't do it. You just It's like there's only so many. It's like with martial arts, okay? It's like there's only so many ways a body can move, all right?
Yeah.
Some people can kick high, some people can do double flips and all the rest of it. But there's only so many ways you can lock an arm or break a leg, okay? And there's only so many ways that you can draw people.
Yeah.
There's only so many ways that you can draw scenes, and apart from extreme camera angles, you're gonna start repeating stuff. just by volume alone, if nothing else.
I think we can say that homogeneous is not necessarily homage.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to write that on my website.
I sent you we don't really have time for it. I sent you another link, Randy, that had some much older, clearly swipes. Maybe we could do part 2 of this.
Oh, we can continue this at another time. Yeah, that's WECA swipes.
That had some ancient swipes from the 30s, 40s, probably into the 50s that are really, really swipey before homage was a thing.
Well, and again, you're working with guys that are artists in general that are on tight deadlines. So
I think about the Human Torch Submariner fight, the original one from the 1940, whenever it was, where Bill Everett and all those guys rented a room for the weekend and drew a 60-page story.
I believe they were snowed in.
Yeah, over a weekend. Yeah,
over a weekend. They all crowded into somebody's house. They had people drawing everywhere and passing pages back and forth. Yeah. I said, who was it? Everett? Everett was in his bathtub.
I think it was Everett.
There's been a couple of stories about that, about Everett being in his bathtub. Yeah, and again, there's a lot of that golden age stuff here.
Woohoo!
That let's see what time we got here. Let me wipe that out.
Maybe we can do a little teaser of it.
Yeah, we got about four minutes up to the top of the hour. Actually, we've had this sitting there for a while.
It just came up because we were talking about it earlier. Charles was talking about reusing stuff from other places, which is exactly what I've done there.
That's taken from that Punisher Who's Who drawing right there.
Exactly. That's the Punisher. I mean, how many times can you have a big burly bloke or even a skull man kind of looking at you like that? It's just like there's only so many ways you can do it. So.
Exactly.
It's not that different from my Rammer cover. It's just tilted a little more.
There you go. I copied it just the other night.
Oh my goodness.
Yours is first, I think. What year is this?
Oh, this was 2 years ago, I think.
Okay.
But I mean, the original illustration was conceived. Certainly, the background ones were. This one here was probably last year or maybe early on this year. So it was after you. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, I copied you. I'll expect a cease and desist in the post.
There you go.
A strongly worded letter.
You might get one from Marvel with that Hulk, Russ.
Yeah. Serve away. He'll just turn him into a bunny.
Yeah. I'll just put him in.
Spike anyway.
That's no Hulk. He's got horns. It can't be Hulk. No way, Jose.
That's his
but what I was thinking of doing was once I got all 3 issues, because there will be 3 books in the end. I was thinking of putting them all together, doing a black and white, and saying "Essential, only death could save us."
There you
See
go.
if I can get away with that.
Well,
this is from that article that Charles.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff in this
great
website.
Let me scroll.
I mean, these are forget homages. These are swipes.
These are swipey.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Oh wow, look at that! Yes, it's blatant.
Pretty blatant.
Yeah.
From Captain Wonder story in Triumph Comics #8.
That is blatant. That's swipe.
This is the golden age of swipe.
Compare the next page to that Captain Wonder story page. Yeah.
Oh, is that first page Kirby?
That's just. It could be.
That guy with the red hat looks like a Kirby drawing, doesn't it?
Does the whole thing looks like Simon and Kirby?
Yeah,
but they're comparing the panel
guys
here in the upper left,
doing the salute.
The black and white in the lower. Yeah, that's a definite swipe right there.
Get in.
Oh dear.
And again,
we know this one.
Last panel on page 2 of Triumph 8, Captain Wonder's story. Nope, that's not what that's describing. This is the Batman thing. And again, is that Wonder Man again?
Oh, look like they pooped their pants.
Leaps off into sheer space. What does that mean?
That's the fiery mask.
As opposed to unsheer space.
What it shows, it just shows because the first one is looking down on the figure. so that the way that their bottom is sticking out makes sense because they're crouched.
Yes.
But all the others are drawn at a different viewing angle,
Yeah.
but have kept the same view of the body and have just changed the feet. So now it looks like they're pooping themselves.
What's
Batman and the other guy there? Just they look wrong.
just roll it up. Look, what's wrong with his arm? Next panel, the third panel of this one. Just scroll up a bit.
This panel appears in a Tarzan collection, large feature number 5. So that's Tarzan there.
Look at that arm. It's not his arm, that right arm, is it?
Yeah, but that's that when you trace stuff and you don't know what you're doing,
you get it wrong, or it looks wrong. Yeah.
So the first panel, okay, that whoever drew that has an understanding of anatomy, and position. Whoever drew the other two, I mean, obviously we know who drew the Batman one, didn't have the same command of anatomy. It's as simple as that.
Doesn't say who the artist is, but it really looks like Frazetta from that period.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Hal Foster from a Hal Foster panel that appears in Tarzan. That's it right there. Yep, that's. You don't get more masterful than that.
But you do. Unfortunately, you see that a lot. You see a lot of art generated. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here for a bit of a rant. You do see art generated, and you think, right, what you're doing is you're copying from other comic book artists because you don't know what's going on with that anatomy because there's odd lumps and bumps.
Yeah, that arm looks really wrong.
Yeah, and then also when you'll get a colorist color over the top of your work, and they don't know where the anatomy is, and they put weird shadows in.
Randy, stay on that picture for a second. Well, you know what's also funny about that picture is the emphasis on the couch.
Yeah.
That's where it's come from.
Why do we need such a good look at that couch?
That's a great couch. It looks really comfy. What I want to know is right at the end there, he's got. So how does that couch work?
It's at an angle. The whole floor is angled.
Everything's wrong about this picture.
So much wrong in that couch. It's like where do you get like the extra little cushion before you get to the arm?
Look at those hands.
Oh, I just noticed something, that the curtains are not his cape. The curtains are curtains.
Yes.
His cape is sticking up.
Flying up. Yeah.
That's because he's just jumped out of the window into sheer space.
Yeah.
Exactly.
His curtains.
Even though he's not jumping, he's crouching on the windowsill.
Yeah.
He's about to jump out into sheer space.
Yeah, this is a master class in what's wrong.
A complete understanding of anatomy there, so I'll just shade in the bottom of his legs so that I don't have to worry about knees.
Exactly right. That's that way on both of the other illustrations as well.
Yeah.
No, that first illustration, that's they know exactly where the knee is.
Oh yeah.
Now that we've seen it's Foster.
That's masterfully shaded. This
is why I keep saying that there's this thing called talent, and there's one person in these these panels got talent.
Yeah.
Just one.
Learn this stuff. Just one. Yeah.
Yep.
Terrible.
But again, you go back and you look at those original Prince Valiants. There's a lot of everybody in there. You know, that was an inspiration for a lot of kids during that time. A lot of kids.
Yeah. What don't we turn into pumpkins after 2 hours?
Not anymore. Not as long as we're recording live. We can record for as long as we want, but we should end it here pretty quick.
Oh, look at that baby. That baby's sleeping.
Oh yeah, there you go. God, rip off.
My God.
And then so they've copied the baby in those two sleeping panels, and then gone to the last panel.
Our writer absolutely hates Captain Wonder from Triumph, though. Triumph Comics, he keeps referring this guy is just stealing left and right.
That last panel is just hideous.
This one with the angry baby.
Rush Limbaugh. It's just
48-year-old baby.
He's got a sly look off to the corner of his eye, like
I'm going to do a radio station.
You pay now.
Yeah, exactly. You pay now.
You pay now. I work too hard to be a baby.
I'm tired of this crap.
With the movements of a full-grown man, the little figure drops stealthily to the floor. Wow, look at that.
Oh, that's why he's got such an angry look, huh? It's just
Chucky. That's
a guy in a baby's
Chucky.
body. Yeah. Is that the Vision? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Where did he say that's from?
fiery mask.
Correspond with the Captain Triumph Graphics explosive fiery mask story. Yeah, that would be timely, I believe. Yeah.
Oh my
Fiery
God.
mask.
I think we can all agree these are swipes.
That's so bad. That baby.
Yeah.
And so directly swiped.
Yeah.
That's so hideous.
Look at that right leg. That's terrible. Look at it.
I mean, because
Yeah.
if you zoom up, if you go up to the color page, sorry, not zoom in. If you just go up to the color page, okay. There's some weirdness about this. Go up a bit. Go up a bit. Go up. Keep going. Keep going. The baby there
Yeah.
on the color page. Okay. Now it's all a bit weird, but there is some movement in that baby. Do you know what I mean? There's some gravity in it. There's a little bit of weight, you know. And then you go back to that black and white one that they've obviously lower down
Stolen
below
it from. Yeah.
that they've obviously just the movement of the baby, like lower. There he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like a blancmange with a head.
The pillow looks nice.
And that guy who's asleep there looks like he's broken his neck.
Obviously,
Nobody
they
lies
got
like
a
that.
different. They got a different background artist, and it was the same guy that did the sofa.
No, it was. Seriously, it was. Yeah. It's the
Oh,
same costume there in the lower lower right.
So what makes you
Captain
think
Wonder.
you can draw backgrounds for us? Well, I really love furniture.
Exactly. You know what that page needs? It needs a couch. Here we go. Marvel Boy. Another Captain Wonder.
That's an interesting cover.
So you're gonna take from somebody, take from the best.
I love
guess.
the giant MB on his chest.
Yeah,
Love the
I like
huge signature down in the corner.
I like his little shorts.
Ross
Yeah.
Kill.
Oh, I thought that said by POS.
He was really.
Oh, yeah,
he was
could be.
really proud of that trace.
Very proud of that trace.
Oh,
yeah.
dear.
Got him by the hair and everything. Look at that.
What I really love is the fact that the anatomy is a bit janky on that top one, and so they've just traced traced bad anatomy on the bottom one.
Hey, if it was good enough the first time, it's good
Exactly,
enough the
yeah.
second time.
That looks
Some
like
mug bought this first time round.
Yeah.
that looks a lot like Simon Kirby here.
It does, yeah.
does.
I'm just looking at that
Yeah.
that guy there. Is he a black man?
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be.
That
Well,
sometimes
very long
you just
hair.
have to let things flow
He's
over
got-
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
look
got
at
a
the hair.
process.
There's two black guys there. Yeah. Same there too, only they look a little,
That's
gangstery.
terrible. Look, he's even got the water tower under the caption. He's even put that on.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't bother, would you?
Just lightbox the thing.
Look at the stairwell. Look at it. The
Lord.
staircase thing.
Oh, you mean the fire escape?
Yeah, the fire escape.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't walk on that thing.
The crap you used to get away with.
No
That's
less than what
terrible.
you see some of these Marvel books end up doing anymore. Big guys.
Gorgeous gal.
Read on Jerry. Is that LaPere?
Yeah.
Jerry LaPere. Some okay, quickie inking work. Boom.
Better than
Phantom
Larry
Lady.
the Banana.
What buried the banana?
Jerry LaPere and Barry the Banana.
Oh. That Phantom
She's
Lady's
got-
probably
That's
the
all right. Hold on,
original
what's the
police
top one?
comics.
I'll tell you what, the bottom one's got nicer eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the original.
I don't
Oh,
think
right,
that's,
well, they-
I don't think that's a rip off. That's just
Uh,
a drawing of a girl looking at you.
It's just a face, isn't it? It's not even got the same hair.
It's not got the same lips.
I think they changed
Similar
the hair.
nose,
Same
though.
face.
Look at the
face
nose.
looks traced
The
Yeah.
the
on
lips
the top
are
one.
But
the lips are identical, I think.
Yeah. Except
the
for
eyes
the
are
bottom
better.
lip shadow on the Phantom Lady one.
Yeah.
Well, she's the Phantom Lady, so you know.
The nose is similar.
Oh dear.
I think there's some copying going on there, but it's
Just
not.
a bit.
I think there's a lot of copying going on there.
Yeah. Copy.
Yep.
Rah!
Wild Biff sock.
I can just I can imagine him going. Rah!
Yeah.
That's his cool. That's what he does.
Just look at the dynamics of that bottom panel, though. You can see those.
Yeah.
You can feel those guys
Yeah.
being thrown out that wall.
If anybody's ever broken the neck in a comic, it's that guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know quite where that bloke's bum is. The one on the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know if his bum is up halfway up his back or his
I
back.
think it's right. I think right there. I think it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
See
it's
my
just
pointer.
weird.
Yeah, it is
I think
weird.
he's got his shirt untucked.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
It's still weird.
It's
oh,
just
you
still
know
weird,
what?
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if they had to go through and retouch that. He might have had
Look
his pants falling down at that point,
Yeah, look at the
with
top
his shirt
panel.
ending right there at that shadow,
Look at the top panel. What's that on his knee? Is that a nipple on his knee?
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously the artist required to get a nipple in somewhere.
That's right. Where's Dr. Wordham when you need him?
Yeah.
There's a Biff, a Wham Biff sock right there. The guy's falling
Wow.
Yeah, they even ripped off the sound effects.
right
That
from
top,
there.
that
Yeah.
top panel.
Right. Okay. There you go. Look, if you look at that down the bottom,
Yeah.
okay, on the color one, the legs are too extended on that bottom guy that's doubled over.
Yes.
But on the black and white one, and I don't know which one is the copy. Okay, his legs are actually in perspective.
I would imagine the bottom one is the original.
Right. Well, it's better in the top one.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's tough to look at this stuff.
If you look
That's
at that,
probably,
It is tough
probably
to
an
look at it,
accident
yeah.
more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
just scroll down a bit and look at that, and the black and white page of this, or scroll up, whichever way it goes.
Yeah.
That top right panel there with the girl and the guy is a real
That's
sort of Buck Rogers type of
Yeah.
illustration, isn't it?
So this isn't just swiped art. Somebody's nicked the story as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is a full con job.
It's
Yeah,
comics. Comics back in the golden
there's
age,
actually
yeah.
plenty of
These companies.
examples of that too, of stories being swiped with completely different art.
all the time. Yeah. Yep. All the time.
Oh dear.
Phantom Rider. That's classic.
Of course he
too.
is. Oh, look at that. That's
There's a
lovely.
WoW comics.
Electrifying.
That's the
Oh,
that's the
oh,
cover I
three of
remember.
them.
That's Vigilante. That's probably the original one on the bottom.
The one in the middle has got the most dynamism
Yes.
in the figure.
Pale
Yeah.
Rider.
Top one's just a trace.
Yeah. Yeah. Of that one.
Yeah.
Do you know, looking at these old pages like this, I can understand why people thought comics were rubbish.
Yeah. It's funny.
This is rubbish.
Sometimes, yeah. Yep.
That was
Funny as
that,
well. I thought it was just me being British that made it difficult to draw cowboy hats. But
Yeah.
there you go.
that was Wortham's fault. He wasn't saying they were violent. He just hated them because they were badly drawn. He wanted them to go.
There you go.
Oh, actually, looking at the hat, there you go. The hat in the middle one is a better drawn hat as well.
It's Jerry LePere again,
He's busy, wasn't he?
There's a British hat for you.
off
Yeah.
of a
Can't-
Alex Raymond illustration.
Can't beat a good pith helmet. You
Yeah.
gotta love them.
It's obviously been swiped from the lower picture by Alex Raymond.
There's Jerry again.
Yeah. That Jerry LePere. it's a
He's
sweat
better at his signature than he is at his
Look at
artwork.
Making
that.
it large.
Look
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
second panel. It says our story opens in the small South American town of Iwatu, deep in the Brazilian jungles. He just wanted to get Brazilian in.
Yeah.
What he did there, you ever been on a manual typewriter and you know you got, when that ping goes, you've got 9 letters left, and
Yeah.
you try and get that big long word in before it jams.
There
That's
was
what- that's what this-
there was
That's what
plenty
this
of
guy
room.
done.
There was
Yeah.
plenty of room for that word on the next line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad choice because he'd started writing the word.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh no, I should have just gone to the next line.
Right. And I'm past deadline.
Oh, I tell you what. How about this? I wonder if it said deep in the Brazil jungles, and then somebody pointed it out, and he had to finish it off.
The editor just went, oh, quickly,
Yeah.
bung that back in.
That
Yeah.
IAN
I know.
does look like
Yeah.
it was added in. Could have
Yeah.
been whited out and added in. Yeah.
In the
That's-
Brazil jungles.
Because the
Oh,
bra in Brazil is the same lettering space as the.
Yeah,
and then the
that's right.
ZILIAN is all squished together. So
Perhaps
Yeah.
it was just. Perhaps there's been some white output and it was in
Yeah,
the
he puts-
brassiere jungles.
He puts the bra in Brazil.
exactly.
The brassiere jungles of Brazil.
Black Falcon,
Black Falcon. The Black Falcon.
obviously ripped from
Yeah.
Eisner's military comics.
Look at that. I mean, I know there's some odd depictions in there. Just the art itself, just amazing, just beautiful.
Well, back then, stereotypes were commonplace.
Yes, yeah,
So
yeah.
he's a little bit more exaggerated than most of the time.
Just,
I've
You know,
seen
Yeah.
Johnny
there's
Depp.
there's a George Tuska drawing of an Asian character, a villain in maybe an Iron Man story from like 66 or 67, where it's that much a caricature, even well into the 60s.
Oh yeah,
Look at that. Just scroll down for that text, Randy, where it says, just keep, sorry, up. Go up to the text. That's it. Look at that. Well-known fried Tojo calamari panel. What's all that about?
oh yeah, it's the Tojo.
Well
is,
known.
the squid there. Yeah,
Look at that.
United States Marines.
Marines, yeah.
Authentic stories.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
back when
dear.
comics were propaganda.
Look at
Right.
that. A leatherneck flamethrower.
I like how they're saying authentic stories with this picture.
Yeah.
No.
Do you know, I think there's a bit of a flaw there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that American GI guy, Marine guy, should be in camouflage like they had on Iwo Jima. Not, that's a European uniform. You know,
Yeah.
the camouflage
Yeah,
that they have.
yes.
What
Pretty
is
that
sure
is
the
not-
napalm tank
Yeah.
and gun didn't look the same either. So
And that is not a real squid.
absolutely not a real.
It's not a
squid.
real Japanese person either, is it?
No, no.
And that flamethrower looks a little kind of small. I don't know how big they were, but
Well, I'll tell you what.
how hot could that thing have been?
I'm going
Yeah,
to
that
say,
must
if
have
you
been hard to handle,
if
yeah.
you were standing next to that close to somebody or something with a flamethrower, you're going to end up in flames yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on, guys. This is comics.
exactly. Sometimes you just have to let stuff flow over you.
Look at the prices on them. Look at the prices. Look,
What?
$670.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
from the Comic Link auction, though.
I
Yeah,
just
and I
would
wonder
not
what
want to buy
what
any
year
of them.
this was too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's got a date. on
Might
it
say
or
all
not.
the way at the top. Yeah,
August 16th,
2017.
2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
I'm
can get a
afraid I wouldn't
Captain
want any of
America
them.
Visa or MasterCard. There you go.
Nothing nefarious.
We'll have to look at more articles in future episodes.
I think we've
Pretty
established that swiping is a thing in comics.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think anybody who's new to this is now convinced. Yeah,
Back in the golden age, it was a way to hit deadlines. Nowadays,
yeah.
it's just a sign of laziness, or unless you're trying to make a homage and just
Or it's a sign of
A quick buck.
misinterpretation.
Yeah,
Where
too.
people over exaggerate the fact that
Yeah.
this is a swipe when in actual fact it's an homage, which is perfectly respectable.
or they say this is a homage when in actuality, it's a swipe.
Yeah, that's the lazy
Works
side
both
of it,
ways.
really. Yeah.
Yep. Want to thank everybody for watching. This has been Comics by Night for the 28th of October, 2022. Charles, let folks know how they can find you.
they can find me by going to Amazon and buying Rammer. And Amazon allows you to buy multiple copies of Rammer. You can buy 10, 20, 50. It's all print on demand, no problem. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram occasionally, and that cesspool, formerly known as Twitter, which is now not going to be a cesspool anymore, right?
Hopefully,
Right.
hopefully.
No more-
Yeah,
no
that's
more.
what they're saying.
Space Daddy is on the way.
Yeah,
Space
So that's
Daddy
me.
in the house, actually.
yeah.
Let
There's
that
already-
sink in.
There's already a video out there, somebody superimposing Elon's face over top of Trump during The Apprentice, going, "You're
Oh,
fired, you're fired,
yeah.
you're fired."
Did you see his own video with "Let That Sink In"? Did you see that? He walked into the foyer. He put out a note saying, "I'm in charge of Twitter or something, Chief Twit. Let that sink in." And then he walked into the foyer and somebody was filming him with a sink.
Yes, I heard that. Yes, yeah.
He's like he's a super troll. He is
Yeah.
a super troll. That is his
Yeah.
superpower, trolling. So there you go. I just find it all totally ridiculous and hysterical. The world has turned into a complete bloody
You
mess.
know he's having fun.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do satire because how do you top what really goes
reality?
on?
Life.
Yeah. Reality has turned into a flaming turd on the back of a clown car, and you just can't top it. You can't top it.
I'm putting that on my blog.
Exactly right. There's a direct quote. Russ, let folks know how they can find you.
You can find me at russleach.com. You can find me in the pages of Batman magazine over in the UK, soon to be in Europe and Brazil.
Good on you.
You can find me in Only Death Can Save Us. Okay, this is the original book. You can still grab yourself a copy of the original if you want to buy the second book as well on Indiegogo. If you want to go a bit more mainstream and maybe get free delivery, you can go to Amazon and pick up the re-edited and a little bit more content in that first version. And this is the global version of that. So that's by New Haven, and you go pick that up pretty much anywhere. All decent bookstores and outlets. Go find them. But you can find out more about me. You can find me on social media and all the usual places, whether that's the Space Daddy or the thing over with the Facebook and Instagram and all that. The flaming turd on a clown car. Yeah, whatever. You can find me there. All the links you can find over at Russ Leach.
That's going to be my next hero. The flaming turd.
The flaming turd. Smell him coming.
This town smells.
That's sulfur, brimstone.
No, it's the flaming turd.
Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
Social media, usual stuff. You can get all my work on Amazon, books and magazines and all sorts of stuff in there. If you want to, if you actually want to see me, get this. You can see me in this talking to Jack Kirby, but you get that from me. You can also see me on various podcasts. On this podcast, usually Friday mornings, and Randy's on Sunday. My own on Thursdays. On Ted Davis Artistry, Comics Unlimited podcast. So I'm there. Put my name in Google and you'll find it.
There we are. Want to thank everybody for watching. I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find me on Facebook if you look hard enough. You can always reach me at thezimcast@gmail.com. You look for me at Twitter. Maybe I'll be on more often now that Elon owns it. We'll see. We'll see how much of a cesspool of hate it stays or if it gets any better. Let's hope it gets better. You can find me Sunday mornings on that podcast that Glenn mentioned earlier, on the Sunday Funnies on the Indie Comics Network, where we talk about the comics that we love, the comics that inspire us to keep working in the field. Not necessarily the ones full of swipes, but the great original ones that really keeps us going and helps us do what we love to do. Then also on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m., I do another broadcast. We're a little more opinionated, a little talk about comic news in the industry on the Zimcast. That's 10 p.m. Wednesday nights on the Indie Comics Network. And that's the Indie Comics Network channel over on YouTube, or now we have indiecomicsnetwork.com, where you can always find our shows. You can find everything archived over there, just in case YouTube gets a little too out of hand, and has to have Elon come in and clean house there as well. So we want to also tell folks, if you have a campaign and you need to ship out your books, to make sure you go over to Gemini Comic Supply, GeminiComicSupply.com, and order all your comic supply needs. They make a great Gemini mailer. Every book should be shipped as secure as what Gemini mailers allow you to be shipped as. You can see one right there in the picture. They keep those books secure from your mailman who has to frisbee them onto your front porch. So that's over at GeminiComicSupply.com. Order all the Gemini mailers that you need, and there's a lot of varying sizes for that as well, and packing supplies also over on the site. On your way out, use the coupon code RAGIN10, RAGIN, and the number 1 and 0, and they will knock 10% off of your order. And right now, 10% could be quite a lot. So we all need to keep our overhead down as low as possible. So on our way out the door, we want to remind you of the immortal words of Mr. Stan Lee, who, when asked if digital comics would replace comic books, he said, "Comics are like boobs. They look great in a computer, but I'd rather hold one in my hand." There we go. Remember, Meatball doesn't work that way. Everybody have a great week. great weekend. We'll be here Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Indie Comics Network. If you get a chance, go over to YouTube. Even if you don't use YouTube that much, go over to YouTube to the Indie Comics Network channel and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Doesn't cost you anything. You won't get any stray emails from us appealing to our channel. All of our shows are networked over there. But the more subscribers we get, the bigger we look. We've got the watch hours for YouTube. We just need those subscribers in order to be bumped up with the big guys and be allowed to take super chats or tips or whatever that.
I have a news flash.
Sure.
Greta is 19.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
She's 19.
Yeah.
Wow.
Means she's been legal in England for 3 years now.
Never done it for me, I'm afraid.
No.
How dare you?
Anyway.
Oh dear. I wonder what she's worth.
To me?
No.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
I wonder how much she got paid.
I don't know how much her parents got paid.
I'm sure that information is speculated on the internet and can
All
be found.
the time. Yep.
That was little Greta.
Yeah.
Right, everybody. We'll see you soon. I think we've answered.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, if you get a chance, you want to read some great Arrow comics, go over to the Rift Riders campaign. There's only about 4 or 5 days left on that campaign before it's going to be closed down. There's a fantastic Arrow Comics tier over there. And with that, you get a taste of Only Death Can Save Us as a book. The Arrow tier offers 8 comics for 832-page, well-printed comics, by the way, for the price of $50. And if you want to read a Hatch from Glenn Fleming, I believe that's in Revolt #1. I've got a couple of stories in Revolt as well. I do the HeroBot Zero book that's offered in that package, and I wrote and created both Calico and Paragon that is also part of that tier. And there's a lot more coming from Arrow in later on this year and early next year. We've got a lot of stuff planned. We hope you're going to stick around. There's a lot of great announcements coming out of Arrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for you to see what's up. Great new stuff. A lot of, maybe even a couple of things for Elon to buy. Let's hope so. We'll see everybody soon.
What the fuck is the matter with people in this business?
Wish you the best. Take care, everybody.
That's Vidania.
See you.
And that's HR telling me we're probably overtime. Nope, that's actually the wife. So we'll go.
See ya.
Take care, everybody.
When your timeline reaches its Armageddon, what's a kid to do?
I'm not a...
Snag the keys to your mom's experimental ship, of course.
That's not quite how it happened.
Drift aimlessly in the rift between dimensions, trying to figure out how to operate it.
Now hold on a sec.
Pick up a few hitchhikers.
Hi! Hello.
And maybe solve a disturbing mystery that could lead to the destruction of reality itself.
You know, if there's time... There's always time.
I'm not so sure about that.
Get in on the adventure with the Rift Riders on Indiegogo.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Oh, come on.